So, few FAQs to get started as we get going. The first FAQ I have for you is, yes, this is going to be recorded. I've got that question. I think I've received 17 emails and 500 chat questions about this already today. This is definitely being recorded, and we're going to make sure that we get this out to all of the attendees and all those that are registered. This evening's session is going to be very similar to this morning's. We have a few different hot seats. We're going to be going into the detail on examples, but very similar to what we had covered this morning. So if you're here for part of this morning, great. We're super excited to have you. So I've got a couple notes here that you cannot hear me. Is that accurate, or can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. So that was one person. All right. The other thing is, we already mentioned this, but we're taking Q&A through Zoom. We'll also be posting up a couple surveys that we want you to be commenting on or replying on through this session. Just be aware that that's coming down. Real quick about me, my name is Madden. I also go by EA. I'm a senior member of the bucket.io team, and I will be your host this evening. I've done marketing plans for a bunch of different companies, and I'm an active bucket.io user. Just like you guys, I'm in the tech. I'm using this for my own personal business, as well as a member of the team here. And I mentioned to you guys very earlier that we do have a feedback survey that we'd like you to start filling out for us. So this is the URL for it. It's make sure you have the HTTPS on there, but www.bucket.io/BD feedback. Now, we want you to start populating this because we already want to receive feedback from you from what you love about Bucket, where we can improve Bucket. You'll find out today is all about making sure that we are supporting you as much as we can. We are here for your success. So make sure to take down this link. I am going to pop it in the chat here before too long, and you'll be seeing this come back up multiple times. All right, so one other quick thing before we get into it, and that's what to expect. So as we said, we are here for you and your success, and we've heard you. You guys have already been providing a lot of great feedback for us, so thank you for providing that feedback. What you're going to get today is examples, hot seats and success stories, access to additional training, and all of this, what we want you to know, kind of the overarching theme for us is today is a beginning for us and for you guys. A lot of you signed up last week as part of 5 Days of Success. And so this week you're really getting in the application. We're going to be here with you. We're going to hold your hand, help you through it. We're going to be giving you more and more information over the next few days, the coming weeks, and the next several months. So we're excited that you're here. We also, if you were not here this morning, have a whole lot of special guests that'll be popping up. We're going to have our first couple join very quickly. Perfect. So I'm having some answers already come back through here. I'm having some questions come through the chat already. If you're having some issues with Zoom, my biggest advice to you is to sign out of the session and then log back in. That helped some people this morning. That's probably going to be the quickest fix for you. So try to, once again, log out of the session, close down your browser, and try to get back in there. The other thing that we want to start with is make sure you know where to get help on bucket.io. We're going to be covering a lot of information this evening, a whole lot of information. We know we're not going to be able to cover it all. So we want to make sure that you know how to access our support and our help throughout the evening and beyond tonight. The first thing that you need to know is you need to know about our knowledge base. Now, our knowledge base is help.bucket.io. You're going to be seeing us access this several times throughout the evening. I'll bring it up multiple times, especially when we have our guest on, so I can walk through where you can go find support. You can also email us at support@bucket.io. Check out our Facebook page. Remember, each week we're doing weekly webinars and we're posting additional information. Facebook is a great place for you to get that from us on a consistent basis. And the last thing, the last way we're going to encourage you guys to get support and help from us is to schedule one-on-ones with our team. Now, the number one question I got this morning, we talked about one-on-ones, is how much do they cost? Right now, one-on-one sessions with our team, with our senior members of our team, is absolutely free. That's right. For a limited time, just to ensure that you're as successful as you can be, we're not going to charge anybody for one-on-one sessions. Now, what that means is when we get these one-on-one sessions, when they become available, you need to jump on them ASAP because they fill up quick. In fact, we filled up probably 50, 60 one-on-one sessions in about 6 minutes earlier. So just know that those things kind of come up. You'll actually have the opportunity to sign up for one-on-ones this evening. Make sure you jump on that opportunity and get scheduled. Perfect. So as we transition into the formal presentation here, we're going to start with a little bit of data. The data that we're pulling from is actually data from our Bucket Day survey. We sent out a survey. It's what we are. We're a company. We're a survey company. We started with a few questions that we wanted you to answer because we wanted to know that who was going to be attending this presentation, so that we could effectively communicate and effectively give you guys what you're looking for. So the first thing that we learned is about 51% of the people that are attending today are working on segmentation funnels, and 49% are working on discovery surveys. We're going to be going into detail about the two differences between those things, but just know 51% is in segmentation, 49% in discovery. You guys also requested new features. We're going to talk about that. In fact, we have a special section in the middle of our presentation where we're going to be talking about what's coming out, what's new with bucket.io. You also let us know, hey, you've had some bugs, and you communicated that to us. In fact, last week, one of the things that we heard about was that we had a little bit of a delay in the application. Well, we learned the reason why, and that's because we onboarded a whole lot of new customers that frankly, a much larger segment than we normally do. Our technology team worked hard over the weekend to fix some of those issues, and we're actually seeing far better performance than we've seen in the past with the application. So that's just one of the things that we want to let you know. Hey, let us know, give us the feedback that you guys are seeing that we need to hear, and we're going to jump on these things very, very quickly. The other thing that you told us is that you wanted access to additional training. So we're going to be telling you how you can get access to that training, and we're also going to be going over some of that training in this evening's segment. Let me stop here. Let me just make sure I don't have any questions out here. Am I the only one that's here for the first part? So real quick, Joe, let me answer this for you. This will be recorded, and you'll be able to get an email of the presentation. So this is it, guys. I have 2 more slides, 2 little slides, until I'm about to bring on our first special guest. Now, our special guest, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to give you their name yet. I will tell you this: they have been an essential figure for bucket.io. This person has been working with us hand in hand. They are an expert in everything assessment-based, survey-based, and marketing online. I'm not going to give away their name yet. I already see some guesses that are coming through the Q&A in the webinar chat. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong, but however, I will tell you that would be an excellent person. They may or may not have written a book, so we'll see. So once again, here are the last 2 slides for you guys. So we already kind of talked about this. About 49% of these people of you guys are in the discovery section, and about 51% of you are in segmentation. And this was the last amount of feedback that we got from you guys. Did I just lose you guys in audio? Can you still hear me? Perfect. This was the last amount of feedback that we actually received from you guys. And what this is this is just a word cloud. If anybody's been using the application, I'm hoping you've had access to already use word cloud. But we actually did a word cloud based on the responses that we've gotten from you guys. And as you can see here, the #1 thing that you've requested from us, the #1 thing that you've asked us to cover is more examples. So we're going to give them to you. All right. Well, that is the end of my small interlude. I am now very excited to bring on our first special guest. Our first special guest in earshot of me. Can they hear me? Can they speak into their microphone?
Yes.
They are very quiet, but I do hear them.
Yes, yes, yes.
So let me introduce, for those of you that do not know, Mr. Ryan Levesque. We actually had several people, even by the sound of your voice, know who this was. Ryan has been a great partner for us here at bucket.io. Not only has he helped to provide us a lot of strategy and support with our application, but he is just everything amazing as it comes to from a marketing perspective and a survey expert perspective. He's a power user of the products. He's a member of our founder circle. And he's here. He's taken time out of his day, out of his extremely busy schedule, to help provide feedback during this webinar. Because during this webinar, he's going to be providing feedback for you guys on some of our hot seats. He's going to be helping us walk through some examples from our surveys and assessments. And he's just going to give us his overall perspective. Hey, my name's Ryan, and this is how I would do it. So without further ado, Ryan, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Madden, it is awesome to be here. I'm going to turn my camera on here, and you should be able to see me here.
We can see you bright and clear.
What's up? And I even got my bucket t-shirt on here.
Love to see it.
In support of the day, and everyone that's joining here who's a student of mine, I'm super excited to be spending the next couple hours with you here, to be supporting, to be teaching, to be answering questions, to be reviewing some real life bucket funnels, lending my expertise, my perspective. And if this morning session is any indication of how this afternoon is going to go, you're going to want to right now take out a notebook, take out a pen, make sure that if you're writing with pencil, you've sharpened it, you've got a sharpener right next to you, because people walked away with pages of notes from this morning. So close whatever you're working on in the background. If you know me, then you know that I like to speak fast. I like to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time, so you're going to want to pay close attention to what we cover in our time together. Madden, it's awesome to be here, and I am excited to dive right in.
Awesome. And if you don't know Ryan, look, we're gonna do a little bragging on his behalf. So Ryan started the Ask Method company in his 400 square foot apartment. If you ever want to hear that story, he will absolutely provide it to you. Recently, he was trying to get the Ask Method to become part of the Inc. 5000. Were y'all able to get that, Ryan? Did y'all get the Inc. 5000?
We missed out on the Inc. 5000, but instead we were able to land on the Inc. 500 at number 462. So the team's really proud. They worked really hard to make it happen, and I'm just really proud of what we've been able to accomplish. The thing I'm actually most excited about is we also landed at the number 7th fastest growing company in all of Austin, Texas. There are over 10,000 companies based in Austin, and we're number 7 out of 10,000. So that was kind of a pretty cool thing, and in a fast-growing economy like Austin, Texas, we've got companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon opening up offices. That was kind of a cool recognition as well.
Awesome. Congratulations, sir. And yeah, that recently just came out. I think it was the last 2 weeks, right?
It is. And the thing that's most cool about this, for everyone listening to this, I don't want to say this, as a humble brag. What I want to share this with you, why it's important, is because the strategies we're going to be talking about today, the types of funnels, the quizzes, assessments, segmentation funnels that we're going to talk about today, that's how I grew my business. That's exactly the strategy I use to grow my business, over 100,000 dedicated subscribers, millions of dollars in revenue, following the exact strategies that we're going to be covering today. And I'm really excited because we're actually going to show some real life funnels in a number of different markets, a number of different industries. And I'm going to lend my perspective on what I think they're doing right, what room they have for improvement, and to give you guys some of the nuances, like the tweaks you want to make in your funnels that make all the difference in the world.
Awesome. Well, we are so excited to have you here, Ryan, and we know we're chomping at the bit for that feedback that you're going to provide for sure. With that said, I'm also going to now bring on my special guest number 2. So special guest number 2 is a member of the bucket.io team. He's a senior member. He's doing webinars for us twice a week. He also does a lot of one-on-ones with our team. if there's anybody that's on the current webinar, have y'all done any? Have you set up any one-on-ones, or have you been on any of our other webinars? If you do, I'm curious if you might have any guesses on who this might be. See a couple guess. I see an interesting spelling of one. We've got a couple people. So without further ado, Mr. Jeremy, let me introduce Mr. Jeremy Estes.
I prefer Harami.
2 webinars a week. How you doing, sir?
Good, Madden. Thank you. But I see I've got Patrick's over there calling me Harami. I think I like it. You guys could just start calling me Harami, and I'll be happy.
Now, Jeremy, we kind of talked about this just briefly, just brought it up. So the way that you're already interacting with all these people is you do 2 webinars a week, right?
That's right. We do 2 webinars every Tuesday. We start we have one at 9 a.m. Central Time, and then one at 4. And then every week we do at least one getting started webinar, so that we're always, no matter how far you're in, sometimes you might get stuck or want to go back through all of the screens, and so we keep one every week getting started, again, just to really help you guys over the hump, and then we go deep into specific features or into the major tools themselves, just to cover a deeper knowledge set on there.
Awesome. So more or less, moving out of today, like once again, these guys, if you're on this webinar and you attend any more webinars from us, you're going to see Jeremy. You can also set up one-on-ones with him. He's an excellent guy to know and extremely well versed with bucket.io. So now it's time. Now it's time for us to actually get into some of our conversation for the day. As we do this, Ryan, I'm actually going to ask you to intro something for me. I mentioned earlier that we're actually asking for feedback from the group today, right? This was actually your idea. I thought it was a great idea. I'm actually going to pull up this bucket survey that we're doing, and I'd like you to kind of talk with everybody that's here. Definitely encourage them to fill it out and just show them where we're going with it.
As I unmute myself here, as Madden unmutes, as Madden pulls it up on his screen, one of the things I want to first talk about is a question that I saw come through this morning, and that is, okay, with bucket.io, there's 2 types of surveys. There's what we call a discovery survey and what we call a segmentation funnel. And before we dive right in, my question to you is this: you can just put it in the chat right now. Who's a little bit confused with the difference between those 2 things? Like, what's a discovery survey? What's a segmentation funnel? What's the difference between the 2? You can just put it in the comments. And by the way, I said it this morning. There's so many times that I've been in a room, and I'm always afraid to be the dumb person in the room. So I'm always like, I'm never the first person to raise my hand when I have a question. But here's the thing: if you have a question about something, if anything that I cover at this time, or anyone on this webinar covers that you're not clear about, feel free to speak up. Like, totally speak up and raise your hand and say, I don't get it. This is the opportunity to get clarification on this. Awesome, cool. All right, so let's talk about high level. What's the difference between a discovery survey and a segmentation funnel? And then we're going to go through an example of each so you can see how different these things are to one another. Okay, first things first. What we're looking at right here is a discovery survey. A discovery survey, in a nutshell, is a survey that you typically run once for a short period of time to gather market research and intelligence to better understand your audience. The goal of a discovery survey is not to generate leads. It's not to build your email list. It's to learn about your market. So you're typically asking a series of open-ended questions, sometimes some multiple choice questions as well, to better understand who your audience is so you can better serve them in the products and services that you sell. So what we have here in front of us is an actual example of a discovery survey built in Bucket. Everything that you're seeing here is built inside of Bucket. And so the folks at Bucket asked me if I would help consult them on what types of feedback and questions would be most helpful to ask you here live so you can provide your feedback to Bucket on what features you'd like to see built out, what type of help and training you'd like to see created, a little bit more about your business and the type of examples you'd like to see so that Bucket can focus and prioritize their time on what's most important to you. And so what I'd like to invite you to do right now, and you can actually fill this out with me in real time as we do this together, is go through this discovery survey one question at a time. I'm going to actually dissect it right now as we speak so you can understand the marketing rationale, the psychology behind each question. And this is going to give you some good ideas and insights for the type of questions you might ask in your very own discovery survey. So without further delay, Madden, if you could just post the link in the chat to this survey, that would be awesome. And then we can all do it together. And then once you're in, just kind of type in, say you've got it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Just let me know. Say like in. Just let me know the link is working okay. Check. I'm just looking. I'm not looking away. I'm not distracted. I've got multiple monitors here, so I'm just looking. Okay, cool. John's on the second to last question. LOL. Already overachievers. So here's the deal. We're gonna do something special. If we get 100 people, that means 100 people to fill out this survey live, we're actually gonna show you the results. We're gonna show you the results live so you can see what your answers are. We're gonna see how you compare to other people live on this call and what you answered relative to everybody else. We're gonna dive into the actual word cloud of what responses, what answers you gave, so you can see what other people are responding. And this is gonna give you a great sneak peek into the power capabilities of Bucket itself. So without further delay, let's dive right in. Bucket Day and beyond, how can we improve Bucket to better serve you and best meet your needs? Click here to start. First question. Okay, you can do this with me, all right? First question, awesome, cool. Couple things. Your business, to help us better serve you, which of the following best describes your business? Are you B2B, business to business, or B2C? Okay, now a couple things I wanna draw your attention to on that question. You'll have to just refresh. Just put the link back in. Cool, all right. Pay attention to the progress bar. See, one of the power features with Bucket is that you can start your progress bar at any number that you want. You don't have to start it at 0%. Any number between 0 and 99%. So here, we started it at 23%. And this is a conversion tactic, a hack for you, if you will. When you start your progress bar at a number higher than 0, what it does is it makes people feel like they are invested in the process. They already completed 23% of this survey. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how can you get away with 23%? Well, it's so subjective, right? If you think about all the steps that you needed to take to get here, you clicked on an email, you've listened to the first 20 minutes of Madden introducing this webinar, you clicked on the welcome page, you also spent some time reading that welcome page. So is 23% too high, too low? I think it's for an individual to decide, but the fact remains, I've done a lot of testing on this. When you start your progress bar at a number like this, it improves your conversion. Okay, so B2B, B2C, just select one of these. So you serve business to business, collect business and business. Okay, next. What's the revenue of the business in which you're using bucket.io? Now, you'll notice here that there are a number of different options, and what I wanna draw your attention to on this question is the reason. See how we ask for a reason. The reason for asking is because different sized businesses have different needs, and this will help us better serve you. Now, whenever you have a question that you're asking that can be perceived as being threatening, right? Where it's like, why do you want to know how much money I'm making in my business? That's none of your business. Well, the reality is the reason for asking this question is because if you're at a business that's doing $5,000 or $6,000 a month, you have different needs than a business that's doing $50,000 or $60,000 a month in revenue than if you are doing $500,000 or $600,000 a month in revenue. You just have different needs based on where you're at right now. And knowing where you're at in your business is going to help the Bucket team cater the type of training, the type of examples that are going to be most relevant to you. Listen, if you're making $5,000 a month and you want to grow to $10,000 a month, it's not going to be relevant to hear about a business that's doing $1 million a month, right? So this is going to help cater the training, features, and integrations that Bucket comes out with. Just select any option, Madden, and we can go from here. Okay, cool. Case studies. In terms of business type, if you had to choose just one, which of the following Bucket case studies would be most helpful for Bucket to share with you? So Bucket right now is working really, really hard on assembling and compiling more examples, more case studies. What type of business model would be most interesting to you? Affiliate products, brick and mortar business. Select whichever option best describes you. Check any option, Matt, and we can continue. Next one, case studies. In terms of industry, what type of Bucket case studies would be most helpful? This is where you get to say, oh, I'd love to see a yoga studio, or I'd love to see a golf training business, or a backpack e-commerce website. What industry are you in that, or that you would like to see more examples in? And you can fill this in right here. So Madden's typing basketball coach. Awesome. Next. Great. Next one. In terms of results, what type of results would you like to hear more about? Building your email list, generating leads, Facebook ads results, webinar results, email results, or other. So take a moment to select this option. And what I want to draw your attention to here is if you select other, this is a feature of Bucket. So if you select other and just, Madden, just start typing something in here, anything, you notice that once you start typing words, the next button appears. Now, a question that came up this morning is, well, what about the back button, right? What if how does someone go back to the previous question? Well, you have the ability to add a back button in Bucket. You do it in the configure step in your app. But here's the thing, it's a trade-off, right? This is a conversion tip for you and one that you want to write down. A back button will help your users go back and answer questions if they need to change their response. So it's helpful in that respect. But a back button, almost universally in every single test that I've done, will hurt your conversion, okay? So you need to ask yourself, what's more important to you? Is conversion more important to you, or is it more important for people to be able to go back and answer previous questions? Okay, cool, awesome. So we can click next on this. Good. All right. Next question, how would you describe Bucket to a friend or colleague? Like if you were sending an email to someone, how would you explain what Bucket does exactly and what makes it different? This is a great question for you to ask your customers. And here's why. It's gonna help you identify how do your customers describe what it is that you do compared to how you describe what it is that you do in your marketing, in your messaging. It's where you can identify, are there gaps? Maybe your customers are using words to describe what you do that are different from the words that you're using. This is a great candidate question for you to ask when you're doing a discovery survey like this. So just type something and click next. Great. You can just click next, in fact. Awesome. Next question, what type of person do you think would benefit most from Bucket? Again, how do your customers perceive your product, your service? Who do they think would be most served or most helped by what it is that you sell, your product or service? Click next. Okay, what would you use as an alternative if Bucket were no longer available? Again, a great question for you to ask your customers. Hey, if we no longer existed, if I wasn't here right now, what would you use instead? And if the answer is, I don't know of anything that does what it is that you do, that's a perfectly acceptable answer to accept from your clients. Next question. Great. Spoiler alert, one of the things that came out of this morning and prior to this is that one of the biggest things that you would like to have more help with are templates of top performing funnels. And so the Bucket team has put together an example of a PDF template that covers a number of different elements, answering, providing a mind map, a flowchart, excuse me, of the steps in the funnel. Some screenshots of actual pages, a checklist of the things that you need to complete in Bucket to build this type of template, an example with a live link so you can click on that link and see an actual example in a real business. And so what Bucket would love to know is what templates would you like to see covered? What type of funnels, what type of businesses? And using this template here as an example, what would you like to see different? Is there anything missing from this example? What format changes would you like to see? What additional elements are most important to you? And if you scroll down, Matt, in just a little bit, you'll see that there's an open-ended text field, and you can just type in your information there. Great. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, oh gosh, this survey is getting kind of long, right? And it is. But the reason for all these questions is because Bucket is truly using this feedback to determine what features they're going to be rolling out, what help and information materials they're going to be providing to you, what additional topics they're going to cover on webinars and training and some things like that, what success stories and examples and case studies should they focus on producing for you so that they're focusing on things that are most relevant to you. Matt, and if you click the next button, next question here, software integrations. In terms of direct integrations with other software to help the Bucket team prioritize, what's most important to you? What software integration, direct integration, would you like to see specifically? So think about the marketing automation tools that you use in your business, your email service provider, your CRM that you use. What would you like to see Bucket focus on first, right? Now, I want to draw your attention to the help text below the question. Only 2 more questions after this. You're almost there. And we try to keep it fun, right? And this is something that you can do in your surveys as well, your discovery surveys. Put a smiley face on there and, just keep it fun and light and just recognize, hey, I know we're asking a lot of questions, but we truly are going to use this information. Matt, you can click next. Awesome. Knowledge-based articles. To help us prioritize what's most important to you, what specific knowledge-based articles would you like us to focus on? So Matt had mentioned at the beginning of this call that there's a website you can go to. It's help.askmethod.com. And that's going to list all the help desk articles. And awesome. So Madden's pulling it up right now. You can see what it looks like. Oops, it disappeared. I think you have to perhaps just put it back on the actual browser as a new tab. It just can't be a new window. So if you just put it as a tab on the browser that we were just on, it'll pop back up. Awesome, cool. All right, that's good enough. And so if you just type in, you can type in something. If you have a question about Zapier, for example, Madden, if you type in Zapier on this URL, great, awesome, hit enter. And you'll see all the articles about using Zapier to integrate with your Bucket account. So this is a great resource. And after you've had a chance to look through the articles and videos that are here, what's missing, right? Maybe there's an article that covers a topic, but you still have a question about that specific topic. And so the Bucket team will work to add to it. Maybe there's a topic that's not covered at all, and the Bucket team will work on adding that knowledge-based article. Again, this is a great question for you to ask in your to your customers. What FAQs do you have that we haven't addressed in our information that we've put out to you? Okay, go back to the link. We're almost done. We're going to get to the final steps on this. I'm going to talk about why this is so important, why this is such a great example to study and use as a model for a discovery survey here in just a moment. So we just click next on knowledge-based articles. Second to last question, you're on the home stretch. Great, last question. Software features. What specific features not currently available in the Bucket app would you like to focus on adding or potentially removing, right? So again, another open-ended question. And you can see here, we just click next. Okay, and that'll take people to the very last screen. You can see there's a very powerful reason why Bucket is asking for your contact information on this very last step. Now you notice contact information is the last step, not the first step. Why is that? Well, with Bucket, when you introduce a discovery survey to your users, if they get all the way through, and then for some reason they don't want to provide their contact information, or they run out of time, or they have to bail for whatever reason, you've captured all those answers up until this point. It's not dependent on getting the username, the email and name of the person first. Now, take a look at this, the compelling reason for asking for this information. Lastly, tell us who you are so we can let you know when your feedback has been incorporated. So Bucket is going to take your response when you take time to provide your feedback, and as and when these features are released, as and when these new elements are added, they're going to take the time to reach out to notify you of those changes, of those developments. And you can see here there's an optional question, optional for students of mine who are who have studied the ask method. This is easy. This is old news to you, but this is a mixed call. Not everybody on this call is even familiar with who I am or what the ask method is. It's a marketing methodology that I teach to help you identify what segment of your market you want to pay close attention to. We have a concept called hyper-responsives. Hyper-responsives represent the most passionate people in your market, the people who are most likely to be your buyers, your repeat buyers, your super fans, your evangelists. And one of the indicators if someone is hyper-responsive is if they give you their phone number. And so as you're putting your information in here, you want to be thinking about, okay, if you want Bucket to really take you seriously and really incorporate your feedback, the longer, more passionate, more detailed answers that you provide, including your phone number to get on the phone with the folks at Bucket to have a conversation about your answers, those are all things that are going to mark you off as a hyper-responsive customer, as someone that is, your feedback is going to be prioritized, okay? So this is a great example of a discovery survey, okay? Any questions on anything that we've covered up until this point before we shift gears and go to an actual segmentation funnel to compare it and contrast it with what you've seen right here?
Well, and Ryan, I've actually pulled a couple questions for you. So I think people aren't really struggling with this, but if we could just get one clear, concise statement on the primary difference between discovery and segmentation, I think that'll help us transition.
Awesome. So say discovery survey. It's called a survey, discovery survey, because it's a survey that you use to discover insights, information, market research about your market. It's something that you run for a very short period of time. Like this survey here is only being run today, one day. Now contrast that with the segmentation funnel. The purpose of a segmentation funnel, notice how we use the word funnel instead of survey, is that it becomes a permanent part of your website. Its primary purpose is to generate leads and build your list. It's something that you drive traffic to with the goal of building your audience and putting people into different buckets so that you can tailor your messaging, tailor the products that you sell, tailor the emails that you send to these people, tailor the promotions that you send to them. Its primary purpose in a segmentation funnel is to put people into different buckets. You'll typically see a segmentation funnel as a quiz or an assessment or a series of questions designed to maybe sell someone one of several products or the same product in one of several different ways. So does that clarify the difference between a discovery survey, market research focused, and a segmentation funnel designed to build your list and generate leads? Does that explain the difference? Is that clear? Questions? Give me some love and some feedback in the comments
we're
here.
definitely getting some people coming in answering for sure that this is definitely helping them out. One specification, and I think I know where you're going to go with this, but one of the themes that we're getting here is, so do you usually use a discovery survey or a segmentation funnel for cold traffic? Like, do you use one for one?
It really depends on your purpose, right? So you've got to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to better understand your audience? Are you trying to better understand what people want to buy in a new market that you're intending on entering? If that's the case, a discovery survey is going to be your best bet. In contrast, if your goal is to generate leads, build your email list, add people to your list so that you can sell them your products and services, so that you can generate appointments, so that you can get people to show up to your webinars, so that you can get people to buy directly from you on your video sales letters and written sales letters. If the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish is any of the above, a segmentation funnel is going to be what you want to use. Does that make sense? Matt, does that answer your question?
That does. That really clarifies things, and I appreciate that, Ryan. We're getting a lot of good feedback here in the Q&A and the chat session as well.
Awesome.
That's the answer.
Awesome. Great.
So with that, I think one of the things that'll help us kind of dig into this a little bit more is getting into even more examples, right? As we're able to, we've been talking a lot about discovery, right? That's kind of where we initially dip our toe in. But we also wanted to kind of shift gears and go into some more advanced segmentation funnels. And would you mind leading a conversation on that?
Let's do it. Let's. Where are we going to go first? Are we going to dive into another example?
Why don't we dive into another example? I'll actually go ahead and I've actually already got these pulled up, right? So if you can see, I stopped sharing my screen. Let me share my screen once more.
So I think what would be most helpful, so a discovery survey is relatively simple. There's nothing fancy about the example that we just went through. It's just a series of questions. Everybody sees the same questions no matter what they answer. Now let's go to an actual a segmentation funnel. And let's actually pull up the slide that shows this company on the keynote that you're about to show, that we just unshared the screen on.
Yep, it's popping up.
Awesome, great. So the first company that I think is going to be helpful to understand for a number of reasons is the skincare company Proactive. And my question is, I'd love to know in the chat if you are familiar with this company, because I know we've got an international audience, and Proactive is a massive brand here in the United States, but it's also a brand that not everyone's familiar with internationally. So who's familiar with Proactive? Yes, you know Proactive. So Proactive is one of the biggest skincare companies on the planet. They actually spend more money in the United States than any other company on direct response television. So what we know as infomercials. They are the #1 spender of infomercials. They have oftentimes celebrity endorsers. So whoever the biggest music pop star, Hollywood celebrity, typically beautiful women in their 20s and 30s, whoever the it girl is in a season, or like the most popular pop star, that person is oftentimes a celebrity spokesperson for Proactive. And so one of the challenges that Proactive has is that they have a number of different products that they sell. So they're a skincare company. They sell physical products. So if you sell physical products in your business and you're wondering how does this apply to you, this is one that you want to pay attention to. Number two, they sell multiple products. So my question to you is this, in the chat, let me know, do you sell multiple products? If you have multiple things that you sell, maybe multiple services, multiple levels, maybe you've got a VIP option, a basic option if you're a coach or consultant, if you sell different products, let me know. Say, yes, I got multiple products. And just let me know, like, I've got 5 products, I've got 3 products, I've got 7 products. I think we had someone this morning that had like 77 different products. So if you're an e-commerce business, or you sell multiple products, or you sell physical products, you're really gonna appreciate this. Awesome, we got 11 products, 3 packages, 4 products, 170 products. I think, Jill, you are the winner.
We have a new winner.
That's awesome. Chris at 6 products. Great. So challenge is when someone gets to your website, right, what product is right for them? So the way Proactive has has solved this problem is if you see there right on their homepage. Now, if you go to their homepage today, you're going to find that Proactive does a lot of testing. So you could go to it today, you could go to it in an hour, you're going to see different versions of their homepage. And so what you see here is a screenshot of one of their control homepages. And you can see right there on their main homepage, they've got an image. See the arrow that's on the screen that Madden's pointing to? See how it says, what's my skin type? Need help finding the right products? Take the quiz. So this is a product chooser funnel. It's a funnel to help people identify what product is right for them. Now, let's take a look at the front end, what customers actually see in Proactive's skincare quiz funnel. So let's pull that up, if you don't mind. Cool. So when someone clicks on that image, they get to the screen that you see right here. Question number 1, and this is built in Bucket, in case you're wondering. Question number 1, are you male? Are you female or male? I'm male or female. And you can just click on one of those options, right? Awesome. Whoops. You might have to refresh it. You'll have to pull the original link possibly. Yeah. Maybe do it on an incognito browser. Cool. Try it again on this link. I don't know if it's going to break again.
No, we're good.
Cool. You'll have to share that browser window because again, we can only see the active browser that you're sharing. Okay. Cool. Okay, click it. Okay, male. Okay, great. How would you describe your skin type? Do you have dry skin, oily skin, normal skin, or I can't see the bottom one. It's a little bit cut off for me. Okay, there we go. Combo. Awesome. You can click dry. Doesn't matter. Where do your breakouts mostly occur? Face, chest, back, or all over? Just say face on this one. Doesn't really matter. Just click on face. Cool. How often do you break out? Occasionally, frequently. It's like one of those. Cool. Which of the following most concerns you? Post-acne marks, under-eye circles. I made the joke this morning. For me, it's definitely under-eye circles. I have like these raccoon panda eyes. And someone was so kind to say that, you know, Ryan, it's okay, because pandas are some of the most beloved animals on the planet. I said, well, it doesn't help the dark circles under my eyes. So we'll take under-eye circles. You can check that one off. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Great. Based on your answers, here's what we recommend. So what that quiz does is it drives visitors to one of several product packages on their website. So a bucket quiz driving people to one of several product bundles. Now what I'd like to do is, so if we answered instead of dry skin, if we would have answered oily skin, we would have gotten a different answer. If we had answered a different product, if we would have answered that instead of breakouts happening just on my face, it's happening all over my body, we would have had a different package recommended to us. So Madden, let's go to the actual lucid chart of this funnel right now. And you're gonna have to make this a bit smaller, I believe.
Yep.
Not
1 second.
on. Okay, perfect. Cool. Good. So the question, I know it's gonna come up, I'm gonna answer it right now. What software was used to design this, this flow chart? It's done in a software called Lucid Chart. I have no affiliation with it. It's a great tool. It's a tool that I use to design all my funnels. We can put the link inside the URL, lucidchart.com. And this is going to walk you through the questions, the behind the scenes of this actual Proactive funnel. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go inside an actual Bucket account so you can see how you build something like this in your software. Okay, first things first, you can see that upper left-hand corner, the dark pink question, are you female or male? That leads to question number 2, how would you describe your skin? You can see there, combo, normal, dry, oily. Question 3, where do breakouts mostly occur? Question 4, how often do you break out? Question 5, which of the following concerns you? And then at the bottom, the outcomes. Now, when you are building out your funnel, I'm gonna give you a pro tip. You wanna start with your outcomes. Now for proactive, their outcomes correspond with the different products that they sell. So in this case, we can look at the list down below. We have skin tone, anti-aging, head to toe, dry skin, and anti-aging again, and then oil control. And it just changed size for me. Let me see. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's back to normal. Good. Good. Oil control. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so Proactive has 5 different products in this case that they are trying to sell. 5 different products corresponding with 5 different outcome pages. So if you have, a dozen different products, you might have a dozen different outcome pages. If you have 3 different levels of your service offering, you might have 3 different outcome pages. Again, this is a product selector or product chooser funnel where you're helping people choose the right product for them. Now let's look at some of the answers and how they correspond to different products. So take a look at question number 3. Where do breakouts mostly occur? On your face or on your chest, back, or all over? If someone says chest, back, or all over, they're redirected to a specific path that's going to lead them either to the head to toe package, which is a suite of products that's designed to cover your skin from head to toe, or if in question 5 they answer that they need that they have aging issues with wrinkles, it's going to take them to the anti-aging product instead. Does that make sense? Now let's take another example. Okay, let's say question 2, someone says that they have dry skin. It's going to take them through a path that's going to lead them either to the dry skin product, or if they say that they have issues with wrinkles, it's going to direct them to the anti-aging product instead. So you can see by asking a few questions, you're able to direct people to the best product for them. It's kind of like this. Imagine, I made this joke this morning. I said, I talked about the circles under my eyes. I do a lot of video for in our company. I spend a lot of time doing training videos and teaching videos. And when I'm in the studio on camera, again, the camera crew always says, Ryan, we've got to do something about your eyes. It looks like you're a zombie. It looks like you're half asleep. Earlier this year, I had to walk into a makeup store here in America. It was the most embarrassing, emasculating experience of my life. It's called Sephora. So I'm sure all you ladies will know of this store. I had to walk into Sephora as a man and say, I need that makeup stuff that you put underneath your eyes. And the woman began by asking me a series of questions. Okay, so how do you, what are you going to use this for? Oh, I'm going to be on camera. Are you going to be, are you going to need to sweat? Are you going to be outside? Is it going to be hot? Oh no, I'm going to be under air conditioning. Okay, so she asked me a series of questions to help recommend the right product for me. Now that was a great experience, but she was only able to serve one customer at a time. She was able to help me choose the right product for me, but it was one-to-one. What this type of funnel does is it allows you to do this one to many. You could have 10, 100, 1,000 people a week, or even a day, filling out this quiz to be directed to the best product for them. Now you can take it a step further. You land on one of these outcome pages. Let's say, can we go back to the, yes, exactly. Can we go back to the outcome page? Now let's say you land on this page, right? And let's pretend this is your product instead of Proactive's. With Bucket, one of the things that you can do is you can add your Facebook pixel to your Bucket account. What does that mean? Well, imagine this. Let's say someone visits this page and this is your product. They go and they say, this is really interesting. Maybe I'll buy it later. They close the window and they leave. What does this enable you to do? Now you can run remarketing ads. You know those stalker ads on Facebook? The ones that follow you around everywhere on the internet? Well, now you can run remarketing ads, not just generic ads for your business, but for this product specifically. You can even run ads based on the answers to their questions along the way. So let's go back to the mind map, for example. You can also run ads based on if they say they are a man, you can run ads with pictures of men using the product. If they say they're a woman, you can run ads with pictures of women using the product. Does that make sense? Any questions on this before we go inside of a Bucket account to actually show you how to build this type of funnel inside the account itself? And by the way, is this helpful? Is this useful stuff? You want to do more of these, like more examples like this? Is this good stuff? Yes, awesome, makes sense. Great, great, great. Yes, yes, everything shown today to achieve. Yes, everything shown today is achievable in Bucket. This is helpful. Yes, yes, yes. Gives you traction. Awesome, very interesting. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Truly helps paint the bigger picture. Love it. And this is just one type of funnel. We're going to go through several types of funnels. Now, one of the things I want to draw your attention to before we get into the bucket.io account to show you how this is built is pay attention to the fact that Proactive is not asking for an email address. You notice that? They just ask a series of questions and go directly to the product itself. They're not asking for an email address along the way. So you might be asking yourself, well, what if you want to collect your email address? What do you do? Well, we're going to go through another funnel example that is focused on lead capture. So building your email list, generating leads. We're going to show you an example of that in a completely different market. For now, Madden, let's go into the Bucket account, and I'm going to turn it back over to you guys because you're more versed in using Bucket than I am. I'll chime in and answer questions along the way, but between you and Jeremy, why don't you guys talk a little bit about certain things like branching logic and outcomes and some of the things that you're doing here in this Bucket account.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you for that intro to this, Ryan. That's really helpful. As we get into this, guys, one of the most important aspects I want to make sure that you remember is the importance of starting at the end. And Jeremy's going to get into this, right? Knowing what the outcome's going to be is going to really help you as you try to position the rest of your entire funnel. So with that, Jeremy, I've got the account actually open here. I've actually already logged in, and I've got this explicit funnel open in my bucket.io account. Normally I'd have to log in to get to this, but just to save time, I'm already here. So Jeremy, why don't you walk us through what we're looking at here? Walk us through what some of these funny looking things on the right side of the page are, and what the rest of this looks like.
Yeah, that's great, Madden. Hey, I'm still looking at the proactive outcome page. Can you bounce back over to that Bucket account real quick? Or I don't know if maybe it's something on my end. Maybe it just refresh.
It's locked. I think we lost Madden's second computer.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I have the ability to add my show my screen. Yeah, we lost Madden, it looks like. Let's see if I can do this. I will try to help you out if you bear with me 1 second. And I will.
Madden's back, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay, good now?
Yep, I'm good. I didn't even know that I was off. So I apologize for that.
All right, you want to pull up your screen?
Yep, I've got it. I'm pulling it up right now. So Jeremy, let me know when you can see it.
All right, I see it. Thank you, sir.
Perfect. So I don't know where I lost you. I was just saying, hey, why don't you walk us through this UI just so we can see what these things are and kind of explain it to everybody on the team.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that I think I heard Ryan mention, I know he brought it up earlier, but it's something that I always tell people when we're looking at building segmentation funnels, and that is definitely starting with the outcomes. First of all, it makes it easier to reverse engineer, but also it makes it to where it's actually possible for you to build your segmentation funnel. So Madden, if you could real quick scroll to the bottom of the screen. This is, and for those of you who haven't actually been into this to build a segmentation funnel yet inside of bucket.io, this is that first screen you get to. This is where you go and actually build the funnel. And so what we're looking at here, this bottom section is where you'll add your outcomes. And what I mean by outcomes is you saw that fancy looking page that Ryan showed us for Proactive, right? That's the outcome page. That's that product page where they go to make their sale to you. And so that's what these pages are here. Now, I think I saw a question just pop up real quick about starting with outcomes. So So someone asked, start with outcomes, please explain what that means. What it means is you want to start building your segmentation funnel by adding what your outcomes are. And like, so in this case, we've got the outcomes are the products for dry skin, it looks like, oily skin, and then they've got a couple of combos, normal combo face, non-face, wrinkles or anti-aging. So these are their different outcomes. These are the different products that that Proactive has to offer. And one thing I want to real quick point out is when you're adding outcomes, there's two ways of doing it. Madden, if you could real quick click on dry, just the actual word itself. What you're looking at here is you've got two options when you're creating an outcome inside of Bucket. You have the option to do what Proactive did in this case, which is to use an existing sales page. So as you can see here where it says external redirect, you have that checked, and then you've got a link that goes to that specific product page for, in this case, the dry skin products, right? But if you don't already have those pages created, you could also, real quick and dirty, build one inside of Bucket if you were to choose outcome page. And I believe later on in some of our examples, we'll actually have some of those to look at, so you'll be able to see what goes into that. But for now, I just wanted to point out that when we talk about starting with the outcomes, this is where you would do that inside of the segmentation funnel builder. So Madden, you can go ahead and hit cancel on that.
Sure. And Jeremy, the only one other thing I will add on that, and I got kicked out. Oh, I had to start over on all this. So 1 second, let me get back in here, guys. I apologize for that. The one thing I'll add as I'm bringing this back up is starting with your outcomes is another way to say that would be just starting with your product, right? Your product, you're starting with what you're selling. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. So you're starting with what you're, with what you're selling. It may not always be a product, right? It might be if you're offering, consulting, then it would be whatever that pitch would be, I guess, is the way to put it. So the outcome is that final step where you've gone through all these, you've asked all these questions, and you've got this last customization piece where you're going to go and make your presentation. That's what the outcome is.
And what I want to take a stab as Madden pulls this back up, I want to answer a question that came out, which is, okay, so one situation is you might have 5 different products like Proactive has here. But what happens if you don't have 5 different products? Like, what are the options that are available to you? And I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about using this product chooser type funnel, quiz or an assessment, to sell products as an affiliate. So I'm often asked the question, Ryan, what would you do if you lost everything? If you had to start all over again? And if I wasn't going to do any consulting or coaching, I'll tell you exactly what I would do. And this question came up yesterday, earlier this morning. Someone said, I want to sell products as an affiliate on ClickBank. How can I use this strategy? And I'll explain exactly how you use the strategy if you don't have any products to sell yourself. Imagine for a moment that you want to enter the health space, the weight loss space, right? And you go to ClickBank and you see there's a whole bunch of products that are best-selling products on ClickBank. If you're not familiar with what ClickBank is, it's a marketplace for finding products to sell as an affiliate. In other words, someone else has created the product, you sell it, you earn a commission as an affiliate. It's geared really towards information products and software. So people who have courses, ebooks, things like that. Okay. Now, there are a number of best-selling products. If we pick a niche for a moment, if we pick the weight loss niche, you're going to find that there are products on all sorts of different topics. Now, I want you to imagine how much more effective it would be to sell an affiliate product knowing a few pieces of information about someone, about asking a few questions before you sell that product. So for example, there's a product that Joey Atlas created a few years ago. I don't remember the exact name of the product. It was something like Truth About Cellulite or something like that. It's a product for geared towards women to remove cellulite on the back of your thighs, right? One of the best-selling products on ClickBank, fitness product or a weight loss product. Now, there's another product, that was one of the best-selling products on ClickBank. It was developed in part by John Benson called the Every Other Day Diet. 2 remarkably selling programs. Now, Imagine if you have one of these quizzes or assessments like this on your website, and if you were to ask someone, which of the following best describes you? Are you A, looking to get rid of the cellulite on the back of your thighs, or B, would you like a diet that allows you to cheat a few times a week? Which of those is more important to you? Now, knowing the answer to just that one question, imagine then if they say cellulite, your outcome page is going to Joey Atlas's Truth About Cellulite sales page. If they say, I'd like a diet that I can cheat a few times every single week, you're now going to John Benson's Every Other Day Diet sales page. See how just adding a simple little quiz like this in front of affiliate products that you might sell, someone else's product that you might sell, is so much more effective than trying to sell everybody the same product. Imagine if you tried selling Joey Atlas's cellulite product to all the people who said that they want a diet that allows them to cheat. So I say this as we're going through this example that whether you have multiple products yourself or you want to sell other people's products as an affiliate, this is something that you can use. Does that help? Does that make sense? I'm looking at the questions here. If you're selling as an affiliate, I just want to get a little bit of affirmation, confirmation. Does that example make sense? Any questions on this, please let me know. Yes. Okay, awesome. Great. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Awesome. Good. Okay, now that we're back, let's go back and Jeremy, jump back in on where you left off.
Sure. So, and I was just kind of looking through the chat as you were talking there, Ryan. And when we say start with the outcomes, we just mean the actual pages themselves. And let me explain why. As you're going and building out your questions, eventually you're going to have to, based on the questions, the answers that the people give, they're going to have to get to those outcomes. And if you don't have it built first, it's going to be impossible inside the system for you to get them to those pages or map them to those pages. In fact, Madden, if you could, real quick, there are some questions over here. I think it's Q5. I can kind of see that. Yeah, I think it's Q5, and there are where those orange buttons are. Sorry, I'm like over here trying to click on it. And I just want to point this out. So what Proactive has done, and I'll walk you through this, but just so you can see here that once you get to this last question, based on the answer that you choose, you see here where it says if answer is A, post acne marks, then map to outcome, and then you see they've got a line that goes to oily, right? And then you've got another one for under eye circles, you've got that, a line that goes to oily as well. And then you've got wrinkles goes down to wrinkles, anti-aging. And then you've got the dark spots that also goes to oily. So what's happening here on this screen is what you're telling Bucket is if they choose this answer on this question, they're going to go to this outcome page. This is what we're going to sell them if they click on that. So if you don't have those pages already built, if you didn't start with the outcomes, you wouldn't be able to do this. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I just want to make sure you understand what we mean by starting with the outcomes.
I mean, the simplest analogy, Jeremy, that I think is most helpful is if you're going to take a trip anywhere, right? If you're going to go on any trip anywhere, you have to start with the destination, right? If you're getting on an airplane, what's the first question that they ask you? Where are you going? What airport are you landing on? So you have to start with your destination in mind. And then you go backwards and say, all right, how do I get to that destination? So in Proactive's case, they said, hey, we've got 5 different products. We know these products are useful for different people. What questions do we need to ask to lead people to one of these products? So as you think about how you're selling your product, it's very simple. Just ask yourself. This is the exercise that you want to go through. And you can actually write this down right now. The exercise you want to go through is imagine you are having a one-on-one conversation with someone. And they reach out to you and they say, for example, Rebecca, I just saw Rebecca, your name here, and you said it was so helpful, so I'd choose your name. Rebecca, I see what you do for other people and I'd love your help. Can you help me? With what you do in your business, can you help me? Well, then Rebecca, you would say, well, Ryan, I don't know, but if you answer a few questions, if you don't mind me asking a few questions about, where you are right now, your situation, I'll be able to tell you, A, if I can help you, and B, if so, which of my services or which of my products is probably best for you based on where you're at. So my first question is this. So just imagine yourself going through that conversation. Now, the way I like to work when I'm building out one of these funnels is, here's my process. I'll walk you through it right now, step by step. Step one, I write down the questions in an Evernote. So I actually just type out the questions. Question one is this, question two is this, question three is this. And I'm moving questions around, right? It's easy to copy and paste. So before you build anything in Bucket, I like to write my questions down. It helps me kind of figure out what questions I'm gonna be asking. Then from there, I use that as a starting point to draw out the mind map, the flow chart, like you saw in the Lucid chart that we just went through. So I'll sketch it out or have some of my team help me put it in that format so I can see the flow. And I'll stand back and I'll say, does this make sense? Here to here, here to here, here to here. Okay, awesome. Then I take those two documents, the questions and the logic, and then I use it to build it in Bucket. And the building part in Bucket, honestly, depending on how much formatting and design that you want to put into this, it takes, gosh, maybe an hour to build one of these funnels. I mean, you could be up and running in minutes if you have a simple funnel. The thing that you want to start with, though, is what's your destination? Where do you want to land people? And that's where you want to ask yourself, do you have one product right now that you sell that maybe you will reposition different ways? We'll do an example of that in a moment. Or are you in Proactive's case where you've got 4, 5, 6 products and you want to direct people to one of these products based on their answers? Why don't we talk a little bit about, show another example of, this is outcome mapping. Show an example of branching logic. I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so to get to the point where you can even, in this case, we were looking at, Proactive is asking these questions. Well, how do they know what outcome to actually end up mapping to? And the way that they're able to do that is through the branching logic. And Madden, to actually start using branching logic, what you would do is, you just highlight over that blue button there, and then click the little blue icon. And as you can see here, what happens is that if someone chooses dry, if they answer the question, how would you describe your skin type, and they choose dry, well, then what's happening now is that we're able to direct them to a specific next question. So as you can see here, not everybody just goes to the same exact Q3. They go to Q3A, or they can go to Q3B, or they can go to Q3C. And so what Proactive is doing in this situation is now they're setting it up to where, as they start answering questions, they're able to direct them to a spot where they can say, okay, you've answered all these questions. Now we can definitely map you to a specific outcome based on the answers that you've given. So real quick, if you just hit cancel on that, another thing that we can look at is the variations. Remember I said we were looking earlier, we saw a Q3A, B, and C. That's what's called a variation. And so the way that you set up a variation, if you just highlight over one of those questions, you can just see the icon pop up there. And it's the one with the plus sign. Oh, don't click on it. I do that every single time. So if you highlight over one of these questions, you can see where there's a square with a plus sign on the right next to that trash can. If you click that, that will create a variation and that you can use, again, when you're doing the branching logic, so that you can send them to the same question, but the different variation of it. And this will give you better control over what the outcomes will be.
Yeah, and so just, I know questions people are asking, like, well, why would I have different variations of the same question? Well, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say your first question is, are you a man or a woman? And maybe the next question, you want to have the same question, right? But you want to have slightly different wording, or maybe slightly different images on that question if someone is a man versus a woman. So perfect example. Let's say some of you are familiar with Will Hamilton's tennis funnel. First question, are you man or woman? Next question, which of the following best describes your biggest challenge? Well, if someone says man, the next question is going to have pictures of men messing up on the tennis court, right? I have trouble serving, I have trouble volleying, I have trouble with my backhand, whatever. Versus if they say woman, you're going to see pictures of women. And so what that does is it makes each subsequent question more and more relevant to a person's situation. So that's an example of why you'd have different variations of question 3, one for men, one for women.
So Ryan, with that in mind, because I know we're getting a lot of questions in this segment on this, I'm going to pull up the proactive funnel again, just because we've been through this, right? Just so we can talk through this. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the two different things that we're talking about, right? So this was the final page that we talked about. This was the final product that they sold us, right? This is the final outcome.
This is the outcome page. Yep.
Right. This is the actually outcome page. When we go back to the original funnel itself, right, and we're making these selections here, this is where branching logic can occur, correct?
Exactly. So let's flip flop between this. So actually start this again. Go back. Just hit refresh. Okay. And then go back to the inside of the bucket account. Okay, great. So let's open up that first question that says, are you female or male? Okay, so this is what we're seeing right here. So see this question right here? Cancel that, go back to the live example. Great, that's this question right here. So see, each one of those squares corresponds with a question in the survey flow. Now, select male, for example. Okay, now let's go back to the bucket one. We'll do now, open this, open up branching logic. Yeah, the blue, yeah, exactly, right there. Open that up. Okay, so now if I say dry, I'm gonna get to 3A, but let's do oily this time. Oily is gonna go to 3B. So let's select oily, go back to the live funnel, and let's select oily. Okay, now this is gonna go to 3B. So go back to the bucket. So see what we're doing here is we're just gonna close this out and go to 3B. Awesome. Just open it up. So yeah. Okay, so based on the answer to this, no matter what people say here, we're gonna go to 4B. Now we're on the oil track, right? So each B, so 3B, 4B, 5B, we're on the oil track right now. And we're gonna stay on the oil track or oily track unless someone answers a question along the way that puts them on the like dry skin track, right? So it puts them back on the dry, or the wrinkle track, if you will, the anti-aging track. So see how that works and see how that, now, one of the things I wanna do that's super simple on this is just uncheck all over at the bottom. Yeah, I wanna show you just how easy it is to map an answer to a question. Let's say if someone says all over, you wanna skip question 4 altogether. You wanna go straight to 5B. See how easy it is? You just drag it over to 5B, and then if someone answers all over, it's gonna skip question 4 altogether. They're gonna go from question 3, skip question 4, and go right to question 5. Does that make sense? So that way, if you have a question along the way that maybe you wanna skip a couple questions, it's super easy to do with this simple drag and drop interface. Now, I think this is good on this one. I wanna make sure we have time for the other examples. Any final questions on this before we move on to the next example? Yes, so these variations, so let's talk about that. So all the branching logic, outcome mapping, everything that we're talking about here, these are features that are only available in Segment within Bucket as building segmentation funnels. You wanna focus on, if you wanna be doing branching logic and everything that we're talking about here, you're gonna wanna do that in Segment. I think we might have lost Jeremy here, Madden. It's been the case today, just on and off. Today's the first day I've ever done a webinar on Zoom. I might make it a vote for the last day. A webinar on Zoom.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm not sure if anybody else is going to give you that option as the last.
So where are we going next? What's another example?
We can go a couple different directions. So we've got several different of these examples to go through. We also have some people that are showing up for their hot seats as well. Okay. The first hot seat we have is a bit more basic example. So we could go there, or we could dig into the next one. I would actually probably say go into the hot seat next would be good, because I know that the next iteration of the funnel is a little bit more advanced, correct?
Well, what I'd like to do is we brought on Charlie as a hot seat this morning. I think it was a particularly good hot seat. I think it's a good contrast to this proactive example. So you can see an example of, it's one thing to see a company like Proactive building a funnel like this It's another to see, a business that most of us can relate to, small business, one-man band. Maybe if you're like most people on this call, it's probably you either by yourself or you've got a couple team members, maybe a couple contractors, a virtual assistant, maybe a couple employees, maybe of a small team that you're working with. But chances are you don't have a multi-billion-dollar company behind you. So I want to show an example of a business that is using Bucket. He was a guest on this morning. He actually came on from New Zealand at 3 in the morning his time just to be a guest. So we didn't ask him to come back on this afternoon. You will be able to catch the replay this morning if you want to hear in his words. And what I did in the morning session on this is I actually went through his funnel and broke it down and gave him some direct feedback on the specific tweaks and changes that he should make in each individual step. But for now, what I think would be really great, Madden, is if we can pull up Charlie's example. I'll talk through what that funnel is as another example of a segmentation funnel and how he's actually using it.
Sure, one sec. Let me pull that one up. I didn't have that one queued, so just give me about 5 seconds.
Okay, cool. So I'll tee up this example. So Charlie, you're going to see this in a moment. Charlie has a business where he teaches people how to play guitar. So he sells digital products online, teaching people how to play guitar. And he's using a quiz to diagnose and prescribe. So this first type of quiz that we looked at is a product selector funnel, right? So choosing the right product for you. This next example is going to be a diagnose and prescribe. So in Charlie's case, which is a great example, Charlie actually has only one product that he sells. You can just pause the video. Charlie only has one product that he sells, and then he asks a series of questions to better understand someone's situation so he can talk about that one product differently based on someone's situation. So here we are. And can we make it a little wider, or is that the width of the screen? Maybe it's just limited by my monitor. Hang on. Yeah, okay. No, it's my monitor. Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, let's do it like this. All right. I know I just got to turn off my camera for a moment because I know my camera's here, but I'm looking at my screen up here. I know it's distracting. All right, good. So this is Charlie's welcome page. And you can see here, headline, can you really shortcut months of guitar practice when you do this? Hint, it all has to do with eliminating your #1 guitar progress killer. So what Charlie's identified is there are 12 big mistakes that people make when they are learning guitar, what he calls progress killers. And his whole funnel is an attempt to play doctor. He's playing doctor, asking a series of questions to identify someone's biggest challenge or biggest progress killer so he can prescribe the right solution for them. Now, if you go to this welcome page, let's click on there's a video here that kind of sets it up in the way that I described. You'll see, just get Charlie on the video for a second, just so we can see Charlie's face, so you get a sense of who Charlie is. I think that's Charlie playing here. There he is. Right, so you can see he's a rocker, right? He's a rocker dude. He's got long hair. He's a cool dude. He's a talented musician, and he's an amazing teacher. But he's a small business owner, just like you and me. He's not, a world famous guitarist from around the world. He's a guy that you probably never heard of until today. So he has a small business just like us, and I want to share the results that he's actually getting from his segmentation funnel. So click on the "Show Me My #1 Progress Killer" video. Cool. And you see this takes you to a bucket quiz. What kind of guitar do you play most? Acoustic or electric? And you can see great use of images on this. By the way, if you're not using images in your segmentation funnel, this is one of the easiest ways to get a lift in your conversion rate, especially if you have any mobile traffic at all. The reason is simple. In Bucket, it's conversion optimized, so that way when someone, if they're on their mobile device and they press, I've got my phone here. I'll turn my camera back on. I have my phone right here. Just pull up my actual apps. So you can see my apps right here. This behaves in the same way that your iPhone or Android will behave, where if you just click on any part of the image itself, it will advance to the next answer in the next question in the segmentation funnel. And we've got clear images, acoustic, electric. Again, use of that progress bar starting at 35%. Madden, just check one of them and we'll, yeah. Awesome, great. Next question, what's your age range? The reason for asking is that guitarists of different ages generally suffer from different progress killers. Again, we're asking a personal question, just like we talked about in the discovery survey earlier. And sorry, distracted for a second. We asked for the personal information about the how much the revenue that you're making in your business, and we provide a rationale here again. We provide the rationale for for asking for your age. Over 50, between 30 and 50, under 30, right? So just select 30 and 50, between 30 and 50. Awesome, cool. Now this is a cool image. This is like a cool one we talked about this morning. So notice what Charlie is doing here. What's your first reaction when you see these images, right? When you see these three guitars? Well, my first reaction is, oh, there's a mistake, right? Like the images didn't load all the way or something. It kind of catches your eye because it's like, wait, something is off a little bit. And what he's done is it's a creative use of like almost like a thermometer or like a bar chart of how far along someone is in their guitar playing journey. But what's great about it is it catches your attention, right? It catches your attention and makes you look at these images. Cool. So let's say, and the one thing that I mentioned to Charlie, and I'll share it with you here when he was actually on live this morning, and I shared this with him. I said, listen, one thing you want to be mindful of is there's overlap in your answers. So if someone's been playing for 3 years, which option do they select? 0 to 3 or 3 to 10? So let's just select the middle option, 3 to 10 for a moment. Cool. All right, next question. Which of the following best describes your guitar playing? Where are you in your journey? Strumming chords in beginning with lead, guitar solos, and jamming. Now what's interesting is for every rule in marketing, there's gonna be a counterexample. And so we talked about this morning that Charlie had tested images on this screen, but found that when he actually removed the images on this specific question, for whatever reason, it actually increased his conversion rate. So Charlie spent a ton of time testing every single question on this funnel. And I'll talk a little bit more about his results before we go through the whole bit. Another thing that's a best practice, see how we put the words strumming chords in all caps at the beginning and guitar solos at the beginning? If you have an answer that's about this length, so it's about a line or two in length, ideally you want to start with a 1, 2, or 3 word phrase that you can either bold or put in all caps so it really stands out, and so it's easy for people to understand which one to choose. I'm just starting out, I'm not a guitarist, so let's just select strumming chords. Awesome. If you had to pick just one thing that you struggle with most when playing chords, what would it be? Now notice what Charlie's done here, right? He's used merge fields where you see where it says playing chords in the question. If you had to pick just one thing you struggle with the most when playing chords, he's referenced the previous question with his answer there. And I know we have a hot seat, another example coming up when one of our guests is going to explain how to actually implement this in your Bucket account. Okay, so a couple options. My chords don't sound full. My chords sound great. My open and bar chords sound great, etc. Let's just pick one of them. My chords sound great, but I have trouble with I think that's pronounced bar chords, second option. Okay, it's fine. Cool. Now, when you play a chord, which picture best describes where your thumb is placed on the back of the neck? See how detailed Charlie is getting here? He's really asking thoughtful, detailed, insightful questions. He's not just asking questions at a surface level. He's really trying to get in there and understand what is it that you're struggling with your guitar playing. Now, one thing that I mentioned Charlie could do on this image is he could actually add a diagram within each photograph. So maybe use a red circle to circle the difference in the thumb position on the left-hand side image and the right-hand side image. So let's just check across the neck, the right-hand side. Cool. Awesome. Now, based on your answers, your #1 guitar progress killer is what we call the skydiver. What's the skydiver? So you see this, and it's curiosity-inducing, right? So what Charlie's done here is he's identified the 12 biggest challenges in his market, and he's created a label to describe them. He's come up with, I think there's the skydiver, there's the mechanic, there's, I don't remember all the names, the engineer, there's like there's a dozen different names for each of these problems. And what he's done here is he's created some curiosity. So if you've gone this far in this assessment, you're like, what's the skydiver? I want to know what that is. And you notice the language that he used here. And we pointed out that he had a small spelling mistake. That should be to get instant access to your free fix and a detailed custom report on your progress killer email directly, enter your best email below. Now, here's why that language is so powerful. 2 things. Instant access to your free video fix. This is what people want, immediate gratification. They want instant access to whatever thing it is that you're going to provide to them. At the same time, there's a question in their mind. There's an objection that you need to overcome. Why are you asking for my email address? Here's why. Because we're also going to send you a detailed custom report on your progress killer emailed to you directly. So see that combination? Instant gratification plus something delivered by email. And it gives people the best of both worlds, something right away plus a reason for you to be asking for their email address. Type any email address in the chat. Okay, great. See my video. Click on that. And now we're going to get to Charlie's outcome pages. And just hit the pause on the video. Oops. Maybe refresh. I'm not sure if we hit something by mistake.
We are cookied into his session. So.
That's what it is. All right.
Yeah.
Go back to the previous page. I just want to show this page. Try to pull it up in an incognito browser. Awesome. Cool. Yes. And John, we'll get to your question here in just a moment, because it's a really good question. It's a great point. I know Madden is going to invite special guests to talk a little bit about your specific question. Cool. So as Madden pulls that up, here's what I want to mention. So Charlie, unlike Proactive, has just one product. He sells just one product. It's his guitar training mastery course. And I forget the name of the product exactly. But what he's done, the way he sells it, is people go to one of 12 different pages. One of 12 different pages. Is it locking on the...
Yeah, it's loading. Just give me a sec.
Okay. One of 12 different pages, each of which has a video on it. Now, you might be asking yourself, wait, does that mean I need to create 12 different videos to sell my product? No. What Charlie's done, and this is so smart, is it's the same video 12 different times, except he's customized the first 30 to 60 seconds. So the first 30 to 60 seconds is where he addresses a person's type. He says something to the effect of, hi, my name is Charlie, and I have your results that I want to get to in just a moment. And what's really interesting about your results is that your progress killer is what we call the skydiver. Now, here's what the skydiver means exactly. The skydiver is when you're playing and you're doing this, and this happens to you instead, and you get stuck and you get frustrated. Well, this is what happens with the skydiver. Now, what's interesting about that is I have people all around the world who struggle with this problem all day, every day. And that's what I help people with. I help people overcome this specific problem. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about how I can help you if you're struggling with this problem, and to talk a little bit more about the results of your Progress Killer assessment. Let's dive right in. Now, the rest of it from then on forward is the same. It's generic. It's common across each of the 12 different types. So did we figure out how to get his page to load? Is it working? Yes, no, maybe so. Maybe can we get someone on the.
I think he actually pulled his video down. I don't know if we hit it too many times on today after our webinar this morning, but the video is not loading at all now.
Oh, interesting. So, anyways, we'll try to pull it. Maybe we can get someone on the background who's hanging out to try to pull it up and get it working. And even if we can just show a screenshot. Basically, what we're looking at is a video page that has a headline, a video, and a call to action button below it. But what I want to do is give some stats, right? So Charlie shared his stats with us along the way. So here are the stats. Number one, he's getting, with the exception of one question, 97 to 99% completion rate on every single question in his funnel. Number two, on that lead capture page, remember the page where Charlie's asking for name, for email address? He's getting a 67% opt-in rate on that page, which is insane. Now, here's the real interesting number though. And I don't have the exact numbers committed to memory. So I'll give you the approximate numbers. He's built his list starting from scratch with nothing, literally starting from ground zero to over 12,000 names. He's built an email list with over 12,000 people. And the traffic source that he's used to build that list, Facebook ads. Now here's the coolest thing. He's built that list, he's generated that email list effectively for free. And here's why. The money that he's spending on his ads, he's making something like 132% ROI. So in other words, for every dollar that he spends on Facebook ads, he's making back $1.32. So not only is he building his email list on Facebook ads through this funnel, he's also making money at the same time. And now what Charlie's working on is just scaling it up and making it as big as possible. So share this example for you to hopefully inspire you, to show you, listen, you don't need to be a company like Proactive. You could be one guy in your bedroom, building your business on your little laptop computer, starting with nothing, and be someone like Charlie who started exactly where you might be right now with no funnel, no quiz, no assessment, and taking that from where he started and building it into a business that's generating tens of thousands of email subscribers onto his list. So any questions on this before we move on to the next example? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. I appreciate that, Agnes. Thanks for those kind words. Great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good. Good, 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 good. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome. Good. So I think with that being said, let's dive into our next example.
Sure, Ryan. So I was thinking about this, and just once again, we're just going on the feedback that everybody's been providing thus far in this webinar. So one of the things I think we would actually be good for us to review next would be the dog funnel that we looked at earlier. What do you say?
I think that's great, and for that one, I think you're going to save my voice, right? And bring on another.
I am going to save your voice. We are going to have surprise guest number 3 this evening. Surprise guest number 3. Do you happen to be there?
I like being people's surprise guests.
Surprise guest number 3.
This is more a surprise for me. No one knows who I am. I'm always surprised when I'm out in public. I think that's what you mean, Maddie, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Richard. He's also a power user for bucket.io. He's doing some really exciting things with our technology. Wanted to bring him on. There's some people on here that are familiar with Richard. I think that they have met him before. But yeah, Richard, thank you so much for hopping on here. I wanted to have you spend a little time going through your Jack Russell funnel with us.
All right, cool. Do you want me to drive or are you driving?
You can drive if you'd like.
All right, shall I log into my account then? I didn't want to do that in case you'd already hacked it for me.
Oh, I have done that.
Well, remove yourself immedately, young man.
I will do that immediately.
Do you know what my say my password out loud, right?
just put it in the live chat. It's fine.
All right, I'm good. I'm in. Cool. So I'll share my screen, right? I'm not scared.
Perfect.
All right, and then you just tell me where you want me to go, what you want me to talk about.
So why don't we do? So one of the things that we learned this morning, Richard, is that we know that we have a mind map for you as well. So why don't we walk through your funnel, then we'll walk through your mind map, and then we'll move into your bucket account. Does that work?
We can do that. We can totally do that. Yeah. So you know, selling information and training information on the internet, this is info products, right, is a very common thing. I've been doing it quite a long time myself, and one of the markets that I do this in is in the pet market and training. And this is a funnel we put together for Jack Russell's. And the thing about, if you know anything about dog training, which I've learned about over the last few years, is most of the training guys are not breed specific, and that makes a big difference. People don't really know where to start. They get a general guide or book. And so the beauty of building a segmentation funnel is that you can guide people through to give them the information that they want. And that does two things. That's a real win-win, right? Is people get help with their dogs, if you care about them like we do. You know, they're happy to pay for that information. There's tons of information. You can just Google stuff for dogs. Most of it's not right or accurate. But by doing this diagnosis type thing, we can really get to the point and we can really help people with their training. So with this, we go through, we have a welcome page, which built in Bucket, I can show you that. Then we go through a number of questions. And in those questions, I do some things that you've probably not seen before or not even aware that Bucket can do in the way we tailor our questions. I'll go through that. But then we do have our Bucket question here, the personality or trait. And from that, we have a couple of follow-up questions. But then our lead capture pages are governed by this question here, the personality or trait. And so this is how we map people, and I'll show you that as well, to our lead capture pages and then to our external pages here. When we use external pages, we already had those because we had something like this built before. So is that clear to everyone, Elliot? Do people have any questions about the funnel itself?
Just waiting to have a catch up here, Richard. Looks like we have a few questions, but I think as you continue to walk through this, it's gonna really identify itself.
Cool. All right. So the fun part would be to actually go through and see this, right? So I can go in here and get my link because I forgot to pull it up. So that's pretty easy, right? I can just go down here and I can just put the link in and we can go through it. All right, so this is built with a bucket outcome page. Pretty simple, very straightforward to pull together. We go through. Here's our first question, and I want you to note that I'm clicking on female here. We ask whether the people are a rescue or not. So I'm going to say yes, it's a rescue. I'm going to talk about how old my dog is. Note the word senior here. I'm going to say that my dog is a purebred. Now, what has happened here? You remember I chose female and that I had an older dog, a senior dog. So I'm using a thing called a feature in Bucket that has been there a few months now, but people aren't using, called a mapping feature here, field mapping. So I'm able to tailor my funnels even more. And then notice I'm going to click on barking here. And then you can see here that the next question is tailored to people with a barking problem. I'm going to click on precise here. And now in the funnel where I am, if I go back, I've just gone past this place here. I clicked on precise. So it's taken me to this follow-up question here and then to these follow-ups, but I've already been mapped to this lead capture and this outcome page. And you'll see that in just a second. I've lost where I was. I was on this one, wasn't I? So I'm going to go to foods and treats. This is the commands one. I'll just go back so you can see we've now come over this top and into commands. And I'm going to click on this one. I love this where people say, I've got problems with my dog. And then they click on, I never train my dog. And it turns out that I have a dog that's an aristocrat. And then from this, I can put in my email address. I'll just do it really quickly. And there you go. I'm taken to my aristocrat report. So pretty straightforward funnel. So you could do this for any info products that you've got. You could do this and then take people to an affiliate product that we've spoken about before. Really easy to do that. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah, and please everyone, I'm starting to get your feedback here. This is really helpful because it's letting us to know kind of where to dive in a little bit more deeply.
All righty. All right. Okay, cool. So I'll go into build, I think is what I'm going to do. I don't mind about doing that. I'm so happy that Bucket have listened and they're not resetting our data when we're doing lots of weird things. So here you can see the questions that are in here. So let's just have a quick look at an outcome page. So really simple and straightforward to do. The thing that I do that people don't often do is I do use some of the simple HTML that you can use here. So pretty straightforward as far as that's concerned. And then as we go through the questions, really easy. You can see in here, here's where I am using the field mapping here and here. You can see the little brackets, and that's really easy to do if you just go over to configure. Somebody was asking in the chat where you configure the progress bar. That's here in configure, so you can slide it up and down. And this is that beginning percentage Ryan was talking about that is so powerful. Always have it on something a little bit odd in testing. That works for people. But meanwhile, if we go back to field logic, you can see in here I've got my gender, I've got rescue, I've got in here the age, and you can see where that senior came in. Notice the question we asked here was 4 years old or more, but actually we used the word senior. And then we've got the purebred, and you can go on and on and on doing this. So it's pretty. And here's barking. Look, if I'd in the question in the problem question, if I'd have put potty training issues, it would have just said potty training. If it had said not getting along with other dogs or people, it would have said social. Purely because I'd used this feature. It makes a real difference to the completion rate of people going through your funnel. So that's hopefully that's of help to people.
So Richard, I actually have a question here for you as you're going through this. Because we're moving pretty quickly through all of this. You're obviously more familiar with the technology.
Sure.
But this looks all really, really complicated. I know that in the meeting earlier, you talked a little bit about this on how doing this in Bucket has been very different than when you did this.
Yeah.
Outside of that, right?
Oh, very different. So I've done this before, right? I came across Ryan about 5 years ago, said, hey, I've got a good idea. Why don't you try this? So I did try it. And to do something similar to what Bucket was doing took us about 3 weeks. And I have a whole dev team that can dev this out. I'm a bit of a nerd myself. And it took about 3 weeks. I can tell you, I mean, people call me a power user of Bucket. I don't think I am. I do read the instructions. I think I do that differently, which other people don't do. So I scour the knowledge base for things. But the difference with this is 3 weeks to build this out because we hand coded everything, all these different pages. And it took about, the first time, it took about a morning. And I didn't read the instructions that much. And then about another 2 or 3 hours to get to just get the images right and everything. So it was like less than a day. And we didn't know what we was doing. And that included the Zapier part of it. I know people get hung up on that. But again, if you come into here, and I think we showed that, didn't we? If you type in Zapier, you're going to find all this stuff. And I just followed this. Yeah, really simple to do. Massive difference for us. Really big difference. And when it comes to testing different things, same thing as Charlie had. It's just amazing.
So
the difference it's made.
So let's get this straight. So you're saying you were able to squish what took you 3 weeks before, basically a day. I just want to make sure that
I would like to say it was a day, but it was 3/4 of a day.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. We could drive traffic to it within that time, and just went for it. Right? We just went for it. I'd already done the discovery survey the old way, where you had to try and build it in survey software that didn't work and couldn't work. Then I had to have a spreadsheet, and I had to go through all the answers and find out who the top responders were and things like that, and look at word clouds and that. And Bucket just does all that for you. I mean that when we did that was a week's work in itself. And with Bucket, yes, you've got to wait for the answers to come in, but after that, Bucket's doing all the heavy lifting for you on your discovery surveys as well. I've seen a few questions about should I do a discovery survey or not, and my answer to you is hell yeah. Even if you think you know your markets, I've been doing this a long time, and you think you know the markets, but it's not just getting insights as to what people are interested in, not interested in, but it's the language that people use, and the difference in the language that people use if they're really interested. They're hyper responders, as we call them, and the people that aren't interested, and just those tweaks in the copy and words that you use makes a big difference. Our sales pages, if you call them that, are full of that language. If we hadn't done the discovery survey, yes, I could have done some questions, and I could have carried on with the old letters that we had, but these have been vastly improved, and our conversion rate increased significantly because we did the discovery surveys first. Alrighty, so I'm just going to go through and just show how we're mapping. So if I go back to here, this all looks a bit complicated, right? So we got this. Some people are carrying straight on, and then they're being rerouted around all this. Well, they're not being routed; they're still going through, but we are mapping in the background. If this was 3D, right? There's people are still going through the yellow, but they're being mapped to the background once they hit this question, and it's pretty straightforward. If I go to here, this is where we're doing the branching logic to get. So people can all be routed. I mean, honestly, it's so easy. It is so easy to do. It's this fast. It is not hard before. Look, and I've made a mistake. Look, so that's easy. I can just quickly undo it, and I can quickly go. That should go to precise. That goes here. I'm not going to save it in the end in case I break it, right? But it is that quick and easy to do. And this is the branching logic, right? This is the bit that is sending people to one of these 4 pages here. And then after that, they'll come back into these 2 questions here. It is that simple. It used to take forever to sort that stuff out. And then we've got the mapping here. Jeremy went through that. If we look at our mapping, this is really easy. Messed up when I put the questions in because I'm not perfect, right? Because I wasn't as organized as Ryan. And it's a good idea to map these things out. Get your questions all in the right order. Maybe put them on a spreadsheet. Ryan uses Evernote. So it's not as pretty as it could be. Didn't really matter, right? You can just drag and drop this. It's so easy just to drag and drop it over. And this is what is taking people, mapping people in the background. So once I've finished answering questions, to getting people to their appropriate lead capture page. So it isn't actually that hard when you go through. Guys, if you think this is hard, you just got to sit down like I did and like Charlie did. And even Jeremy, right, is a real expert in this. You just sit down and play with it. It's lots of fun to play with. You're not going to break it. Look at that. Look at the, come here into the knowledge base and type in stuff. The best one to get started on is the 5 days one, wherever that is. Here you go. It's all in here. That's the best one to get started with, I'd say. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
Excellent.
Anything else I can help you with? I mean, the difference it makes. I mean, for me, I mean, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to go for it real quick, right? You know, with this, the difference this means, I'll show you really quick. If you show in here, that's our leads, 173,923. That's live in my Entreport account. Wow. And then if you have a look in here, this is the data and the information that we're collecting. So you can see here the male and female. We do stuff in Entreport in a minute to get these other genders that we use, referring to a dog, going to collect his ball or her ball when he or she, which is stuff that Ryan taught me is more advanced stuff. Bucket can't do that yet, but it is on the roadmap and it's coming. Rest assured, guys, I'm the guy talking to Max saying, hey, can we do this fun thing now? Can we do that? It's on the roadmap. I can't tell you where, but you can still do this advanced stuff. Really, really simple to do. And I know at the minute, I know again pushing for the direct integrations, but Zapier is worth doing, and it's not that hard, and the team are there. Read the articles first, get your Zapier integration done, and you're hum and dry with this part of it, and you can start collecting those leads.
So thanks for sharing that, Richard. I wanted to kind of go through a couple things because once again we're getting a lot of questions about what you're talking about. I wanted to redirect everybody to once again remember we do have the knowledge base. That's going to be, Richard mentioned it. It's been a key to his success. It's been a key to everybody that uses it. The core URL on it is just help.bucket.io. That's it. Go here, go to the knowledge base. What you'll be able to do is you'll be able to just do a simple search, and we've got a lot of information, a lot of information when it comes to segmentation and discovery. Do a search and allow us to walk you through the process as it goes.
Yeah, and I see people asking about, is a webinar recorded? Are there webinars on this and webinars on that? Jeremy's done a ton of these, and again, you'll find a lot of them are in here. So I've just searched for webinar, and there I can find one on outcome mapping we just talked about. There's a Zapier one. Building a high converting funnel, I definitely would like to see that one. Segmentation, discovery stuff. There's another Zapier one. It's all in here for people to find.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Richard.
All righty.
So, along these lines, Richard brought up something that was extremely important to us, and it's it's about us getting your feedback. When we started this conversation this evening, we said, hey, we're putting forth this survey that we want you to fill out, and I actually just popped it back in the window. It's actually back in the chat. If you haven't filled out that survey yet, we really want you to do that because we need the feedback so we know which direction to go. And I'll tell you what, this is what we're going to do. In order to give you a little bit of a carrot as well to fill out this survey, for anybody that fills out that survey while we're on the webinar this evening, we're going to give you a one-on-one session with Jeremy or one of our other senior bucket.io specialists. We'll sit down with you. We'll walk through this process with you. We'll answer your questions. But you have to fill out the survey while we're on the webinar this evening. We really are looking for the feedback, guys. We want to know what direction we need to go. We want to know what type of additional training you guys want to get from us. We also want to know, hey, what's the next tech thing that you want us to see? What's the next new unfangled technology that you want us to roll out that's going to allow you to do a even better job with Bucket than you're doing today? So once again, I've just dropped it back in there. It's that Bucket form. Click on it, go through, and then submit the information. Submit your information. It'll only take you just a couple minutes.
I can tell you, I filled it out twice. So guys, if you filled it out at the beginning, and I would if I were you, and you've thought of something, you've got additional information, you can fill it out again. Now, not 25 times, but probably a couple of times. I do know they have technology to be able to detect that sort of stuff, but I'm sure you'll be forgiven on this occasion. So yeah, get that filled out, because it really does help the team build out all this stuff.
Hey guys, and just real quick, I just wanted to interject something because we started talking about the one-on-one calls, and Richard, I love how you're kind of going through this the knowledge base. One of the things that we do on these one-on-one calls is, once I identify what you're like where you need the most help, I'm able to help you actually even further go in and find the exact places in the knowledge base for you to work in. So that's just another reason to definitely go in, get that survey filled out so that you can get one of these one-on-one calls, so that you're not so that you can pinpoint and get your exact issue. Like, I can point you exactly to where you need the help and where that content is.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Jeremy. That's really helpful. So once again, guys, fill out that survey. We want to give you the opportunity to hop on the call with us. We want to be given the opportunity to help make you successful. So I'm actually gonna take the screen back over now, Richard.
Awesome.
I think we've actually got another special guest. If I'm looking at my notes here correctly, it looks like we have special guest number 4 that looks like they're ready to come up and chat with us. Is that correct? Special guest number 4, are you there? Or Ryan, are you there? I thought you wanted to say a couple words about this guy.
I am here, and I'm happy to make the introduction. They're throwing me on the spot here. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. What I love about the Bucket team so much is, and you've seen it already. Madden has been mentioning over and over again this feedback survey today, and I've had the opportunity to connect with the Bucket team directly, spend a little bit of time together. I serve as an advisor based on my expertise using surveys, and they truly take your feedback into account, right? The team is led by Bucket's product manager, who's responsible for the entire design team, entire development team, basically running an entire office. I know that he spends every day, all day, every day, watching what feedback requests are coming, feature requests are coming through, what integration requests are coming through, what issues you might have run into, sticking points in both the training and the software itself. He's working tirelessly with his team to roll out these feature enhancements. And I think what Madden is saying is that we were able to get him today to pull him away from coding and developing and designing and managing the team to spend a few minutes with us and talk a little bit about some of the most recent developments, changes, and fixes to the software, as well as what is coming down the road really quickly. And I got a sneak peek on some of this stuff, and so I'm personally super excited about this. So Matt, I'll let you make a formal introduction to our man Mad Max. But I'm super excited because seeing what's coming up next and how the feedback you're providing right now is already being incorporated as we speak into the app is super, super cool. So Matt, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about Max a little bit. I know we're all big, gigantic fans of Max. So Max, are you there? Can you hear the sound of my voice?
I am here, man. Thank you for having me here.
I love Max. I love you, Max.
You got a lot of big fans here on this call, Max. So hey, man, I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on. We know we've only got you for a few minutes. You're able to break away from working with your dev team. So a couple of just quick things about Max. We call him Mad Max. He is a senior member of the Bucket team. He's the mad scientist or their product guy behind this thing. And he's here to talk about some of the new features that are coming based on the feedback that you guys have been provided. So Max, I've got your presentation here.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Madden. So everyone's great to be here. I'm just here to talk to you about a few things we've been working on, things coming on the next few weeks, and some very exciting things we've been working on. So Thank you as well for that great introduction, Madden and Ryan. As Ryan said earlier, I'm always listening, I'm always reading your feedback, and I'm always forwarding that to a team and see how we can make Bucket better, how we can make Bucket faster, and how we can make Bucket a better tool and an experience to use. So um, a few days ago, we've had a huge influx of audiences of people using Bucket, of new users, and that of course caused our servers to slow down a bit. And we had a few tickets, a few requests here and there. Things were sluggish and not working as fast as usual in Bucket. So we really took that into consideration, and we've been really working um, in performance optimization. We've been working on the database, we've been fixing issues, we've been making things faster. So day by day, we've been pushing fixes, we've been making sure our data is very fast and our servers are loading properly. So you should see Bucket loading faster and faster day by day. It's what I call it growing pains. We've had so much influx of users, so many audiences created that we've been stepping up our game, making sure everything is really fast for you. So aside from that, we've also taken into consideration a lot of your feedback and things you want in Bucket. And one amazing thing that we're working on right now is direct ESP integration. So far what we have is Zapier. You are allowed to use Zapier whatever way you want, integrate with whatever ESP Zapier allows you to. But I know of you and our customers want to do it directly. They want to integrate directly with MailChimp, with Infusionsoft, with whatever ESP you're currently using. So we are working on it, and over the next few days, we are going to start releasing. We're going to get started with MailChimp, we're going to get started with Infusionsoft, and then after that, we're going to start releasing all of these other different ESPs and direct integration for you. So we would love for you to tell us, what do you want us to integrate? What ESPs are you using? And we'll take that into consideration. I'll personally see to it that it makes our backlog and we release it for you. So if you can, just give us that feedback, go into that link you have in the chat, and just let us know in those comments, in that survey right there, I want this ESP ready and up and running. And we'll make sure that we get it done for you.
And I'm just gonna second what Max said, because I see the comments flying in. Those comments are gonna get lost. They're gonna get lost in this Q&A. There's a link that I know that the Bucket team's provided a few times, and just to help them out, I'm gonna put this in here. It is this link right here, bucket.io/BD Bucket Day BD feedback. There's a question in there that specifically asks, what software integrations would you like to see? And that is how your feedback is going to be prioritized. So do it now. If you want to see your software integrated, that is the place to do it. Do it right here live, because the Bucket team, immediately after this call ends, is going to begin analyzing those responses and get cracking on the prioritized list. Cool. Take it away, my man.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. All right, so moving on, there's a few other things that I want to talk to you about. We're pushing fixes mostly on the UX and the experience of the app. There was some confusion on once you have a published funnel about data and how you clone it and how I can go back into my funnel even though it's published and just change an image or change some copy or do anything. The way we had a Bucket build, we didn't want to mess too much after you had a survey or a funnel running with the data and your stats. So we kind of limited that at the start, but this is a must-have. I know all of you want it. We receive tickets all day for it. And I wanted you to know we are working on it. We're soon to release an update that's going to allow you to clone your funnels without resetting data. It's gonna work. Your data is gonna be there, and you're going to be allowed also to go into your funnel or your survey and just change copy, change an image, change whatever you want. With your data is gonna be right there, safe, no problem. So we're removing kind of that block we used to have, and it's gonna allow you to publish your funnel, publish your survey. If you want to fix something, fix it. If you're seeing a question's not working, go ahead and tweak things a little bit and see how you can optimize your survey and funnel. Along with this, we're also releasing a few updates on how you can customize your funnel. So we are now going to allow that you can add bold text or italics or wherever you want in the funnel, and as well as a few other tweaks to the design itself, fonts, colors, things like that. Just allow you to further even customize those funnels and surveys to make them look awesome. Again, I want to really thank you for all your feedback. We have many improvements coming, and just keep that feedback coming, please, guys. It's amazing that you're using the app. It makes me so happy when I get thoughts, because it means you are seeing and you're using it on a day-by-day basis. So one of these things that we're releasing soon again is date ranges for your stats, for your analytics, whether you're in a funnel or you're looking at a survey, looking at those stats. You used to be able to, well, right now you're able to see your all-time stats for your survey or funnel. So very soon we're going to be releasing date ranges, so you can select yesterday, the week before, the month before, and you can start comparing how your day-by-day performance doing, or week-by-week, or whatever you want. So that's coming. Another nice thing we're adding to the app is there's some sections in Bucket that have been kind of confusing. Like, for example, how do I integrate my Facebook pixel? How do I do my Zapier integrations? How do I do my advanced field logic? We have K-based articles for that, but we're also now adding some more thoughts and some more explanation inside the app on how you can use it, on how this feature works, how you get the best of it, and how you can get up and running without ever leaving Bucket. So that way you could get the most out of Bucket in every way. We're also releasing some updates to our stats. Some of the graphs we're improving, some of the numbers, some of the stats you get back from your survey or funnel. You're going to be seeing some updates on that, just to give you more insights and better insights on how you're performing there. And last but not least, we're also releasing some updates on Zapier and how you manage Zapier integrations. So that means we're going full circle on not only releasing direct DSP integrations, but we're also making better how you integrate via Zapier. And that wraps it up about it. There's really exciting things coming over the next few weeks. And then after that, we're releasing a bunch of stuff that we really know you're going to love as well.
Awesome. Max, thank you so much, man. I know, once again, I know we don't have a ton of your time today just because you're so busy working with the team, making sure the new things are coming out. Once again, guys, one more time, it's going to sound like we're just beating the drum for the feedback. Truly, the way Max sets his calendar, the way that he sets the next things he's going to work on is involving your feedback. So please provide that feedback. Ryan hit on it earlier. You've got the link in the window. We'd love for you to click through and give us your thoughts. Let us know that next integration that you're looking for. Let us know the next feature set that you're looking for. I promise this guy's listening. So once again, thank you so much, Max, for your time this evening.
Thank you for having me here.
Make sure you tell your fish good night for me. I appreciate it.
I will.
Perfect. All right, guys, while we're talking about some newer things, and Ryan, I'm going to bring you back on here as well. I want to let you kind of talk through something that we really hit on earlier. And I'm going to actually pull it back up here in my presentation. And it was the thing that people, if they've been going through the survey itself, they would have run across it already. And are you there, Ryan?
I am here.
Now I get to go find it after I said that.
What are you looking for? The
I'm
template?
looking for my sales template page.
Sales template. This one?
There it is.
Cool.
So one of the things that we're looking for, once again, as it relates to feedback, and you'll see this actually in the survey itself. And Ryan, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this page up in the survey and let you riff on this for a second. Then we'll bring back up. Then we'll actually get into our next example as well. Because once again, we have people asking for examples left and right. Why don't you kind of walk us through what we're looking at right here? I mean, this looks really powerful to me, but why don't you help explain to the rest of everyone else what we're actually seeing here?
Totally. So I did a webinar. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. And some of the people here on this training are here because they're in my world and I said the team at Bucket is putting together a list of 10 of the top 10 performing funnels that you can build in Bucket as examples to inspire you, templates that you can use as a starting point for when it comes to building your funnel. And so we've covered a number of examples. We've got, I think, another example that we're going to cover here in just a moment. And the Bucket team put together this written sales page segmentation funnel template that you see here. And this is something that the Bucket team, I know, desperately wants your feedback on. So as they're putting the final touches on the top 10 of the most highly converting funnels in Bucket, what you would like to see. And so if you look at this document here, I'll just walk you through it, and you can pull. There's a question inside this is why this feedback survey is so important. The Bucket team wants to know, what else would you like to see? So what's missing? What would you like to see different on this template? So let me walk you through what you see here. At the very top, the name of the template, so what this is for. So if you want to send people to a written sales letter, but you want to have different versions of that written sales letter to sell a specific product. You see on the right-hand side, for a moment, I'll skip around a little bit. On the right-hand side, there's a flow chart like the ones that we've been looking at. You've seen the ones that we've been showing you, a flow chart walking you through the steps of this particular funnel. You'll see in circles on the right-hand side down below, a few pages in the funnel are highlighted, pointing out some of the things you really want to focus on. So you heard me talk about things like starting the progress bar at 23%, specific language that you want to use on your call to action text that's performed better than other language patterns, and so on and so forth. Those are some of the highlights that you want to focus on when you're building your funnel. Back to the left-hand side for a moment, at the upper section, you'll see an overview of what this segmentation funnel is, a written sales page template, some of the integrations that you can use for this particular funnel type. As you can see, the logos of those integrations there. On the left-hand side, column 1, you can see when you use it. So when would you use this? Why would you use this? An example, so a real-life example with a link that you can click on, copy and paste and go into your browser. That takes you to an actual real live example from a real business using this particular funnel. And then a checklist of all the things that you want to do in Bucket. So the steps that you want to complete in Bucket that you can just check off and make sure that you've completed all those steps, both the must-have steps as well as the optional and advanced steps, things that you can add to take your funnel to the next level. So the question is, if you're like, heck yeah, I want to get this, here's the deal. So again, everyone who's here live, part of this Bucket Day, and the folks who take time to fill out this survey, this feedback survey, you're going to get the top 10 best performing funnels. And on this particular question, when you get to the survey, scroll up, Madden, just for a moment, you'll see, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the call, I know a few people joining us late might have missed that. If we scroll up just a little bit to the actual words on the, templates. What templates would you like us to focus on creating? So this is where you can provide your feedback. What would you like to see, right? What type of funnels would you like to see? Using this as an example, is there anything different that you'd like to see that's missing on this particular PDF? So is there a change? Is there something additional? Is there something missing? Is there something that's not helpful, et cetera, et cetera? This is going to help the Bucket team put the final finishing touches on these templates so that they can get them to you as soon as possible. So that's what we wanted to talk about there, I think. And I think it now makes sense to go to what I believe is our last segmentation funnel of the day before we end with something super exciting and important. I'm going to save that surprise for just a few more minutes. Let's go to that next segmentation funnel. Now, let's recap what we've covered so far. So we've covered a physical products, e-commerce product chooser type funnel, right? With the proactive, choose which product is right for you. We covered with Charlie's guitar training example, what we call a diagnose and prescribe funnel, asking questions to diagnose someone's challenge or pain and prescribing the right solution for them. Now, Charlie sells a digital information product. Okay, now we talked about the Jack Russell Terrier funnel, selling in basically a find out your type funnel. So this is a funnel where people want to find out their dog's type. Now what I want to teach you is another funnel type that you can use a segmentation funnel for, which is a find out if you qualify angle. So we're talking about some of the most powerful psychological triggers here in all of consumer psychology. So the thing that people care about more than anything else in your market is what? If you heard my training before, you know the answer to this. It's themselves, right? It's themselves. If people want to know, they care more about themselves than anything else. And so the find out your type funnel, the reason why that's so powerful, why? Because people are obsessed with finding out their type. And you've probably seen this before with those BuzzFeed quizzes, right? What Star Wars character are you? What personality type are you? What Disney character are you? This is an example of a type. People want to know what their type is. What weight loss type are you, etc. Well, an equally powerful psychological trigger is finding out if you qualify. And I'll give you an example of this. If you ever applied to college, or you've got kids who have applied to college, you know the anxiety around finding out if you got accepted or denied. We all want to know if we are good enough, if we are accepted into something. It's just there's a ton of tension and anxiety around this. And one of the companies online that's used this find out if you qualify angle so in such a genius way is the supplement company Force Factor. Now, Force Factor is a company that sells a suite of supplements, and their funnel for the last 10 years has been find out if you qualify for a free sample. Simple, right? Answer a few questions to find out if you qualify for a free sample. Okay, that's the psychological background. That's setting the stage on this. Let's go to this example right here. So this is an example of a B2B business. So I know that there are people on this call saying these B2C examples are great. I'd love to see a serious business that is actually using this. Now, Swift Capital is a company that provides business funding to businesses. So businesses that are looking for financing, for funding, Swift Capital serves other small businesses. Swift Capital, in case you haven't heard, was just was a company that started from scratch, started from ground zero, used a find out if you qualify funnel like the one that we're looking at right here. It's a company that I've been involved with for almost the last 7 years that I helped see from basically a startup to just a few weeks ago being acquired by PayPal. So on the back of the exact type of funnel that you have the technology and tools and now training to build, this is a company that was just a few short years ago, probably in the same place that you're at right now. Early stages of your business, small business, to being acquired for tens of millions of dollars by the company we all know, PayPal. So let's take a look at this landing page. This is the landing page where traffic comes from either Facebook ads, direct mail. So they actually send direct mail and old school snail mail to their customers and driving that traffic to this page right here. This is an example of a check that someone could receive in a business cash advance check. And you can see what the call to action is here. Congratulations, you're pre-qualified. So they pre-qualify people based on their targeting in the ads that they're sending and then the types of businesses that they're targeting with direct mail. But the real question is, how much do you qualify for? So if you're a business, you want to know, how much funding do I qualify for? And so that's what this takes you through here. Find out how much your business qualifies for. Now, there are three different possibilities, three different outcomes that someone can land on when they complete this funnel. We're going to go through this step by step. The first outcome is they could qualify for Swift Capital's highest level program, which is up to $100,000 in business funding. The second level is their mid-tier product program, which is qualifying for up to $10,000 in business funding. Now, the third option is someone could potentially not qualify for any of their products or any of their programs. They're disqualified. But what I'm going to show you here is what to do if you're in that situation. If you have, maybe you have something like this. You could imagine if someone, find out if someone might want to find out if they qualify to work with you. And maybe there's a type of person that you don't work with. For example, maybe you only serve businesses that are making at least $100,000 a year. Or maybe you only serve companies that have 50 employees or more if you're in a B2B setting. Or maybe you only serve companies if they use a specific type of technology. Well, you don't want to just throw away the leads that you get where people say, that don't qualify to work with you or they're just not a fit. Instead, what you want to do is direct them to an affiliate offer instead. I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. All right, so Madden, click on the green button, find out how much you qualify for free. Click on this. First question, what are your average monthly credit card sales? Let's just say 10K to 100K. Next question, how long have you been in business? Let's just say 3 to 5 years. Next question, what's your credit score? Let's do 500 to 699. Next question, do you have any liens or judgments on you right now or against you right now? Let's say no. Have you ever filed for bankruptcy? Nope. And last question, final step. To find out how much funding you qualify for, simply enter your name, email address, and phone number, and you'll see results on the other side. So let's just select type in some dummy data here. Yeah, Gmail, cool. And then find out how much I qualify for. Awesome, great. Congratulations, you qualify for up to $100,000 in business funding. Watch the video below to find out the next steps. And this video will walk you through what those next steps are, including what to do next, which is click the button to complete your application. Okay, now let's take a look at the actual Lucid chart, flow chart for this particular funnel. And perfect, great. So what you can see here is this represents what we just walked through right now. And I'll walk you through the logic behind this and how you can use this type of funnel in your business. So it starts with the welcome page. We saw the welcome page, which had that check on it and the green button. First question, what are your average monthly credit card sales? If someone says less than 10K on that particular question, they no longer qualify for the 100K funding program. They're immediately spit out into a different path, which is the gray path, which is the path to qualify for the 10K funding program, right? Next question, how long have you been in business? Let's say, for example, someone's been making more than $100,000 a year, but they've only been in business for less than 1 year. That disqualifies them from the $100,000 funding program and puts them in the 10K funding program. You can see how the arrows point to the gray path there. Next question, what's your credit score? Similarly, if someone has a credit score of less than 500 or they don't know their credit score, that puts them in the 10K path that you see here. Now let's look at the next question. Do you have any liens or judgments against you right now? If someone says yes, that takes them to the disqualified path, the red path down at the bottom. If someone has liens or judgments or they filed for bankruptcy, they are not a fit for Swift Capital. And you can see they're taken to the not a fit affiliate offer on the outcome page. So let's go back to the actual live example for a moment. And let's hit refresh. Okay, and just click through. And then when we get to the question, answer it however you want. But when we get to the question about liens or judgments, say yes, yes. Okay, great. To find out how much funding you qualify for, simply enter your name, email address. You can see it went straight to the lead capture page, and you'll have to put it as a real, like an ad. Okay, how much I qualify for. Great. Good news, bad news. The bad news is you don't qualify for one of our programs, but the good news is we have a partner who specializes in working with business owners just like you. Watch the video below for all the important details, then click the button to continue. So see, what Swift has done here is instead of just losing that lead, wasting time and money to collect that lead, instead what they're doing is they're sending that lead to another company that works specifically with high risk, high credit risk individuals and businesses, and earns a commission on selling them. So you can think about it like this. Imagine for a moment if you're a coach or a consultant and you have maybe it's maybe you specialize in Facebook ads and Google ads, but you occasionally get people who reach out to you and they need help with they need help with Instagram. Well, you could have questions in your assessment or quiz that if they say, I want help with Instagram, you have a video that's like this or a page that looks like this. Hi, I'm not an Instagram specialist, but let me refer you to someone who is. Click the link to continue here. And that can go to an affiliate product. That can go to a friend or a colleague who specializes in Instagram, and you can earn an affiliate commission even though that person isn't a potential customer for you. I shared this morning a great example of how powerful this is. And I can't say the name of these two companies because I was told this in confidence, but I can tell you the concept. There are two email service providers, two companies that every single one of us on this call right now have most likely heard of. And what's fascinating is that they are direct competitors, right? Think Pepsi and Coke. right? They're two direct competitors. They go head to head with each other in the marketplace. And I discovered and learned privately from the CEO of one of these companies that they are also, listen how crazy this is, they're also each other's #1 affiliates. Think about that. What a paradigm shift, right? Imagine a world where if someone gets to your website, you refer them to your #1 competitor because they're not a fit to work with you, and you're both winning, right? You're making money, the competitor is making money, and it's a win-win all the way around. And effectively, this is what Swift is doing here, right? They're sending this traffic to another company in the space that services a group, a segment of the market that they don't want to service. So Madden, I think that covers this funnel here. It's, just in summary, this is a find out if you qualify funnel. It shows you a B2B example. So if you're in the B2B space, you can see how an assessment can work in the B2B space. Again, this is a company that went from nothing to being acquired by PayPal using this exact model. So guys, this works. We've taken a look at Proactive, a $1 billion brand selling physical products in the healthcare and beauty space. So a product chooser funnel. We took a look at Charlie's guitar example, diagnose and prescribe, to identify someone's challenge or problem and prescribe the right solution for them, just like a doctor would. We looked at Richard's Jack Russell Terrier, find out your type funnel, to take advantage of that psychology around finding out what type you are. And each of these are examples that you've seen used in digital products, physical products, B2C, B2B, enthusiast markets, solving problem markets, and hopefully gives you some inspiration and some ideas for what you might be able to do in your business. So Madden, based on where we are in the agenda, I know we've got 1 or 2 important things that we want to cover next. Where do we go from here?
So Ryan, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. So we do have 1 or 2 more very important things that we wanted to cover. I'm actually going to surprise you a little bit with where I would actually like to go next. It's something that you're not expecting, but something that you know very, very well. The reason I want to do this
is there nudity involved? Because I'm going to be blocking my webcam here on Zoom.
That got real awkward real quick. But no, what I actually want to do here, and I've actually been looking at some of the feedback that we've been receiving already. And some of the feedback that I've received, frankly, is, hey, this is all great. This is all awesome, and I see how advanced these are. Can we see one more really simple one? Can we see one more a more basic survey, if that's possible? And it just so happens that I have this Orchids Made Easy funnel.
Oh gosh!
I think you may be familiar with.
You're digging out my past here. This is great, though. All right, okay. Hit me with it, man.
Perfect. So here's the deal. This is the reason we're bringing this up, everybody, and really this is it. So we've seen a lot of really fancy, really detailed, frankly, beautiful funnels already today, right? And I get that. I can get that, how excited that this is. The whole reason we're having this conversation right now is we want to now give you something like, just say, hey, I can take steps on this. I know how powerful and how amazing I can get Bucket to be. The question for me, though, is what can I do right now? What am I going to be comfortable building right now, maybe today, tomorrow, in the next little bit, so that I can move forward? And then as soon as we get through this, Ryan, we'll get back to the special announcements that we wanted to make here at the end.
Awesome, cool. And how we doing on that? I'm just going to check in on that. So I know we got it. If we get to 100 feedback responses,
we're close. We're very close.
How many more do we need? We're like 5 away, 10 away. Where are we away? How many people?
We are 13 away.
All right, 13. If you have not filled out the feedback survey, do it now. The link is going to get posted inside the Zoom webinar chat right now. So you're like, where's the link? Where's the link? Go to the webinar chat. It's going to get posted. I'll tell you when it's posted. Right. Charles says, I've done it twice. Should I do it again? If you've done it twice, Charles, you've done your duty. I will bless you. I will thank you. Awesome. Okay, great. Rebecca said I did it twice. Let's post it in the Zoom webinar chat. We can get the link. I'll do it I'll be able to do it faster.
No, it's posted. It's just taking a second.
Okay.
Our friend Zoom here is like, it's just delaying a little bit for us.
All good. So that's the link, bucket.io, BD feedback. We get to 100. We got there in the morning, and I think it's gonna be really cool to see your responses compared to this morning's responses. So you definitely want to do it. Like, I think the insights you're gonna get are gonna be really powerful, and then it's gonna give you an aha moment to see behind the scenes for when you get the results. So make sure you do it. This is how your voice is going to be heard, how Bucket's going to prioritize, the features that you want, the integrations that you want, the training, the teaching that you want, the case studies that you want, the examples that you want, the templates that you want. This is how your voice is going to be heard. So I highly, highly encourage you to do this. We're down to the last couple minutes to do this before we wrap, so do it now. And in the meantime, let's go through a very simple funnel. So this is an example of a very simple segmentation funnel, where it's just one question determines what bucket someone goes into, what outcome they're sent to. So let's take a look at this. So the way someone arrives on this page is predominantly from Google AdWords traffic, and to a lesser extent, Bing and Yahoo search traffic, and to an even lesser extent, Facebook traffic, right? So number one traffic source, Google AdWords. When you click on an ad, the ad says something like, discover everything you need to know about caring for your orchids all in one place. Boom. Get to this page. Discover the solution to your biggest orchid care challenge, even if you've looked everywhere and haven't been able to find the answer. When it comes to caring for orchids, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But if you take a moment to tell me a little bit about your situation, I'll be able to share the number one thing you need to do next, designed specifically for you, absolutely free. Click the button below now to get started. Yes, tell me what to do next. Oh, you're going to have to do a refresh on it. Same thing as last time. All right. You'll have to You'll have to go back. This is what happens when you sneak up on me and try to.
I think I earned this.
When you try to trick me on what we're going to cover here. Great. All right. When it comes to caring for your orchids, what's your biggest challenge? Getting my orchid to bloom again, saving my sick or dying orchid, potting or transplanting my orchid, or learning the basics of orchid care. Now, I will tell you this, right? I will tell you this. Based on the answer to this question right here, that determines what outcome page someone goes into. So this is just like, I could stop here. We could have a simple funnel that literally has one question like this if you wanted, just to get something started, just to get something going. So let's take, for example, getting my orchid to bloom again. Select that one. All right, I think this, okay. Which of the following best describes your age? That should be less than 45. There's a little bit of typo in here. Less than 45, 45 to 54. Just click on 45 to 54. Which of the following varieties are you caring for right now? Choose all that apply. Just check off some of the boxes. Check, check, check. All right, next. And by the way, all this information is getting stored in a database. I'll explain how these questions are being used in a second. Just click, which of the following topics are you most interested in? Growing African violets. Let's click on that top radio, please. Okay, great. How to get your orchid to rebloom, even if it looks like a dried out stick. So notice here, that headline on this lead capture page is customized because we selected getting your orchid to rebloom. Based on everything you told me about your situation, put together the number one thing to do next to get your orchid to rebloom. To get free instant access plus my email tips on the 3 best ways to get orchids to rebloom, enter your email below now, and I'll see you on the other side. So just type in, and I'm not sure if the version that we have here is the live version, if it's a clone or what is it.
I'm pretty sure this is a demo version.
Okay, pull up the, okay, cool.
We can try it.
You're gonna have to go to an actual real, you have to get rid of the punctuation and G comma.
Yeah, I completely missed it.
Okay.
Oh.
May or may not get there. Okay, cool, awesome. So what this does is it takes you, you can even see the URL right there. It takes you to a sales page that is specifically about reblooming. Now let's take a look at some of the things that are customized on this page based on the answer to that question. So one simple question, right? Which of the following is your biggest challenge? Reblooming, repotting, saving a sick or dying orchid, or learning the basics of orchid care. You can see here, thanks for signing up for my email tip series on the 3 best ways to get orchids to rebloom. It'll be in your inbox in the next 30 minutes. In the meantime, blah, 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 blah. Go here. So you see, if you're like most people, look at this little story right here. If you're like most people struggling to get their orchid to rebloom, it can be so frustrating. You bring your orchid home, you've got this entire string of blooms and it's absolutely beautiful. It makes you happy every time you walk past it. And your guests are always commenting on how gorgeous your orchids are. Then one day, one of the blooms falls off and you say, okay, no big deal. Then it creates this domino effect and each of your remaining blooms start falling off one by one until there are no more. Then what are you left with? You've got a couple of green leaves and a dried out stick. Your once beautiful plant is now an eyesore. And then you ask yourself, is this thing ever going to bloom again? Or should I just toss it in the garbage and give up? Trust me, I completely know what that feels like. So see what we've done here is that copy, that whole section is all about reblooming, because that's what people said their number one challenge is. Now scroll down even a little bit further. Let's go to the bullet section here. When we get down to bullets, the bullets are organized. Top, the best bullets are the most relevant bullets are at the very top of the section. How to get your orchid to rebloom. And then from there on, the next bullet sections are organized in order of relevance to reblooming. How to save a sick or dying orchid, beginner basics, etc., etc., etc. Even the testimonials are focused around reblooming. So let's take a look at some of the testimonial section down here. Okay, great. Following your tips and secrets, I've managed to make my Vandas rebloom for the first time in my life. For those of you who are not orchid enthusiasts, Vandas are a popular type of orchids. You can see, finally, healthy roots and new blooms, thanks to you, from Irene in Ohio. You can scroll down a little bit further. What else we got? I don't even know if all of these. Yes, okay, this person here is sharing their blooms. Now, what I want to do is let's go back to the actual funnel itself. And so here's the point on this. This sales page here, scroll down, is selling the same product. Everybody has the opportunity to buy the same product, which is the Orchids Made Easy book and bonus package. Now, the key is what we're doing is we're highlighting, based on the person's bucket, we're highlighting the parts of the book that are most relevant to them. We're talking about the chapter on reblooming. We're talking about the bonuses that have to do with getting your orchid to rebloom again. So you can see we have 4 different versions of this sales page based on a person's bucket. Does this make sense? Does this help? Does this make sense? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're getting a lot of positive comments.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely.
So,
great.
So this is a super simple example. Let's go back to the actual bucket segmentation funnel for a moment for orchids. Not the behind the scene. Oh, we can do that, but let's. What I want to do is the actual live one.
Oh, the live.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to go. Refresh is not gonna do it. You're gonna have to go back. Hit the back button on the browser. Okay, there we go. All right. Yes. Tell me what to do next. Click the orange button. Okay. So this first question determines what bucket someone lands in. But click on getting my orchid to bloom again. Do that, the top one. Yeah. Okay. Now, age, we use this to tailor the testimonials that people see in the emails that they get. So if someone says that they're 75 plus, they're going to get a different story in an email than someone who says that they're less than 45. That's a typo on that question. Just type in, should be less than 45. Click the less than 45. Cool. Next question. So we have additional products that we sell in this business. So we have a Cattleya Masterclass, NVIDIA Masterclass, Dendrobia Masterclass, Insidia Masterclass, Papipedal Masterclass, Phalaenopsis Masterclass, Vanda Masterclass. We have masterclasses, courses on all these different varieties of orchids. And whenever we want a promotion for one of these, we tag people in our email system. And by the way, we use GetResponse in this business, in case you're curious. So if you check off Cattleya and then Cymbidium, whenever we run promotions for those masterclasses, anybody who's tagged themselves here as being interested in that orchid variety, they get that promotion. So this allows us to only send emails to the people who are expressed interest in that particular orchid variety and ignore everyone else. Go to the next question. This will be the last one. Cool. Here, which of the following possible topics are you most interested in? Growing African violets, carnivorous plants, greenhouse growing, I'm getting an echo almost. Making your own homemade orchid fertilizer, and none of the above topics really interest me. We use this question to determine what secondary product to promote first. So after we've promoted the book, if someone says they want to know about African violets, we have an African violets book and course as well. If someone wants to learn how to make their own homemade orchid fertilizer, we take them to that training product instead, based on the answer to this question. So you can see how just asking a few simple questions can be so powerful to find out who your audience is, how to tailor your messaging and the products that you sell to their unique situation. Does that work? Does that make sense? I'm looking at some of the comments here. Yes, great help. Yes, makes perfect sense. Awesome. So yeah, great question. How do you get the content if you did not start out as an orchid expert? Gosh, there are thousands, if not millions of people on this planet that have expertise in topics that, that don't know how to build an online business. You can hire people on places like Upwork and Freelancer, Elance, sites like that. You can find people on, even on Fiverr and sites like that. So how did we learn about orchids? Well, number one, I don't want to say I became an expert in orchids, but you learn a lot when you're in a market for sure. But we hired experts. So we hired experts that we were able to pay to write articles for us, to do videos for us, to build courses for us. And you'd be surprised at how affordable it is to pay someone to put together, teaching or training on something that then you own as a business owner and then can sell to your customers. So I'm not going to get into the details of that, but that's the short story there. Cool. Awesome. Let's go to the Lucy chart on this. Once again, there are 4 sales pages. So here, so you can look at it right here. Undo. All right, just all right. No touching, just looking. All right, so welcome page. You can see here, what's your single biggest challenge? Based on the answer to that green question, we send people to either learning the basics of orchid care, custom lead capture page, custom sales page, which is an outcome page. It's an external outcome page in Bucket. Learning the basics of orchid care is on here twice. We'll just update that. It should say learning the basics of orchid care, getting my orchid to bloom again, save a sick or dying orchid, and it should all go to different lead capture pages and different outcome pages. So 4 lead capture pages, 4 outcome pages, and you can see the other questions that we ask along the way. So super duper simple segmentation funnel example. You've seen some of the advanced ones, right? That we talked about. You've seen some basic ones. You've seen them in different markets. This one sells a physical book, so another physical product that you can sell. This is a written sales letter. Charlie's was a video sales letter. We have filling out, the Swift Capital example is filling out an application and getting on the phone with one of their funding specialists. So it doesn't matter what you sell. It doesn't matter if you are a coach, consultant, if you sell digital products, if you sell products as an affiliate, if you're a service provider and you sell services, this process works. So Bucket, Madden, I know we're winding down on Bucket Day here. And I know we've got I think 1 or 2 super important things that we want to include before we leave, of course, which is how to book a call with Jeremy, which we'll get to in a moment. But what do we want to go next? Where do we want to go first? Madden, did I lose you? Madden, we do not have your audio. All right, guys. I guess Madden's gone. It's just you and me here. I'll try to wrap this up as best as I can. So 2 things. This is the last call, right? Last call to fill out the Bucket Day survey. I want to get a count from Madden to see where we're at. And Madden, if you can hear me, we can't hear you, but if you can hear me, if we've hit the 100-person threshold, then let's show the results. If you haven't, let's do one final push. If you haven't filled out the survey yet, do it right now. Seriously, this is how your voice gets heard. This is your last chance. If you don't fill it out now, it's kind of like no complaints if you don't get your feedback in. Bucket.io /BD feedback. Thank you, Mag. Julianne says, we certainly hit 100 since I did it more than that myself. Awesome. So we posted it a couple times. Take a moment to do that right now. If someone else that has visibility in that account would let me know. And Madden, we can see you clicking around on your screen, but it's just stuck on the Lucid Chart page. I don't know if you can hear what I'm saying. Okay, awesome. So let us know, how many are we away? You can just chat it to me, just in the chat. Let me know how many are we away from hitting our 100 target.
We're over.
We're over.
Wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
It said.
Now we can't hear you. Audio gone. Man down. Man down. Man down. Just text me the number that I guess. Let's do this. If you can share your screen, Madden, that would be super helpful. Yeah, it says that you're muted right now. I can't unmute you. I don't. It's not letting me unmute you. So let's just, if you could share your screen, or I don't have access to that bucket account, otherwise I'd share it myself. Richard, perhaps maybe you can help. I think Madden's computer has said, no more, 8 hours of bucket day, and I am rebelling. I am not letting you use me anymore. I have given up. His computer's probably overheated by now, 8 hours of this fun. Can anyone hear me? Can you guys hear me? We got 2 more things that I want to share with you, which is number 1, an important next step. And number 2, and let's do that now as we wait for the bucket day survey results to come through. And this is super important. Okay. So we've covered a lot of stuff on this call, right? A ton of stuff on this call. You've seen a bunch of examples. You saw the B2B find out if you qualify example. You've seen the physical products e-commerce example. You've seen the find out your type. What type are you? Dog example. You've seen the simple segmentation funnel in the Orchid business. And you've also seen the diagnose and prescribe funnel example with the guitar training business. So we've seen a bunch of examples. We've talked about a bunch of different features, a bunch of cool things that you can do in Bucket. So my question to you is this, and this is important for you to help consolidate your thinking, consolidate your learning, and it's also going to be helpful for the Bucket team to better serve you as a customer. In the chat right now, answer this very simple question. What is your single biggest takeaway from today's session? Single biggest takeaway. So what is your single biggest takeaway from today's session? Let's get about 25, 30 responses in the chat. I'm gonna start reading some of these. Put them in there now. We're gonna get them in there. Good. Awesome. I feel like I can do this. Outcome is product. That's great, Linda. Keep them coming. Let's get some biggest takeaways in here. We've got one more question I'm gonna ask you after this, which is super important. Oh gosh, now they're flowing in. I need to do a discovery survey, even if I think I know my audience. Awesome. The platform is not boogeyman anymore. It's no longer scary, right? It's totally cool. Nicole, just how powerful Bucket is. Love it. Lily, I'm going to focus on affiliate marketing as a starting point. Great idea. JR, designing and mapping the funnel is most important to make this happen and keep it organized. Sally says, feels possible. Love it. Julie, I can do it. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, right? You see these examples and it's like, hey, that's not that hard. I can totally do this. Pat, outcomes and how easy they are to put together. Start at the end. Totally. Jennifer, how important branching is. Powerful. Keith, the dev team commitment to product leadership. Yeah, shout out to the dev team. I mean, these guys work around the clock. Here's the thing. Like, you know, when you run into a challenge or an issue in the software, I can tell you it's 10 times as painful for the guys working on it because they've put their heart and soul, like they've put their life into this thing. These are guys, I know these guys. These are guys, they've got wives, they've got kids, they are working around the clock, they're burning the midnight oil, they put weekends in, they work holidays, just to push as much amazing features and develop this into a world-class tool. And that's why I'm so committed to this company. That's why I'm so committed to this tool, because I know the leadership behind it, and I know the people that are, you know, on the ground actually building this thing. So I appreciate that shout out, Keith. I just started working on this and I can't wait to get further. Love it, Jen. Candy, seeing a very, very big overview. So it makes more sense as working to a deep dive survey. Awesome. Yes. Shabina? Help me pronounce your name. I'm so sorry for butchering that. Your biggest takeaway is to get over your fear because Bucket's easy. Love it. Kyle, power of branching logic is awesome. Lori, Bucket is very versatile to use to create a variety of different surveys. Love it. Get a real sense of what buckets are all about, how to apply them. Facebook Pixel can track anything. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so there's like 100 takeaways here. I'm not gonna say all of them. Next question, okay, and that's this. And then we're gonna get to these takeaways, and then we're gonna get to the final thing, which is how to book a one-on-one call with Jeremy. Next question is this. What is your #1 priority, your micro commitment next step? Your micro commitment next step. So what is your immediate next step? Now, in my teaching, if you're a student of mine, I teach the power of micro commitments. Mark Twain is famous for saying something to the effect of the secret to getting ahead in life is getting started. And the secret to getting started is to breaking down your complex tasks into small, simple tasks and starting on the first one. So my question to you is this, my challenge to you is this, right here, right now. What is your immediate priority micro commitment next step? What is the one next step that you are going to take immediately after this webinar, in the today or tomorrow, to move your success forward in bucket.io? What is your immediate priority and your immediate next step type it in the Q&A. The simple act of taking a moment to actually go through your notes, gather your thoughts, think through everything that's been swirling in your head, look at everything that you've written down, circle one thing, pick that thing and write it down, creates consistency and commitment, and is a successful step in and of itself. It's the first step to moving forward. So take a moment to do that right now. I'll read off a few of the great next steps that are coming through. And gosh, I can't even keep up with the messages. 81 new messages. Love it. Davin, my next step is get my discovery survey complete. Complete my discover quiz. Write discovery questions. I'm going to create the Lucid map right now for both your products. Finish the design you started with Jeremy and build bucket. Write discovery questions. Webinar was actually my first step. Discovery quiz. Launched my proof of concept demo with my flagship client. Priority, create discovery survey and then survey my list tomorrow. Love it. Awesome. Find offers that I can use, that I can sell using Bucket. Do the first thing my coach directed me to, 15 personal one-on-one calls. Find my market that I can be successful in. Love it. Watch the videos, do a discovery survey, complete my buckets, drawing the mind map with the first question. Love it, love it, love it. I can't even keep up. Complete my buckets, discovery quiz. I'm doing the interview calls to better define my buckets. You guys are awesome. I love, love, love the action you guys are taking right here, right now. Listen, we've been together here for going on 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes here. We've got one last thing that we're gonna do before we wrap, but I just wanna commend you for a moment. Listen, you have been here. This demonstrates a total commitment to yourself, to the reason why you're here. Because here's the deal, like we didn't, none of us grew up, maybe none of us, maybe Richard grew up thinking this, but very few of us grew up as kids and said, someday I wanna build funnels and do this thing. No. This is a means to something else, right? For me, when I first launched my online business, my goal was simple. My wife was getting a PhD, I was working in a job, and we were living in 2 different countries. And we were seeing each other twice a month. And I said, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. What the hell am I doing? This is like insane. This is crazy. I was living on a plane. I was traveling from hotel to hotel. I was living in China. I was traveling to some kind of stanky cities in China. And I said, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. There has to be something different. I said, I want a business that I can live anywhere in the world, that I can travel, that I can make my own hours, and where I am in control. Where I can wear a t-shirt like this and be in my office, have my kids outside, take them to soccer practices, which is what I'm going to do immediately after this webinar ends, and live life on my own terms. That's why I went into business for myself. And this is a vehicle for you to do this. So as you're going through this process, right, as you are getting stuck, running into roadblocks, the annoying tech issues that we all run into, trust me, I run into them too, all those things that we run into, you got to remind yourself of that thing, right? Why are you doing this in the first place? Because when things get tough, it all comes down to what's your why. Is it freedom? Is it making an impact? Is it leaving a legacy, for your family, for your kids, for the town that you live in, whatever it may be? What's your reason why? Remember that reason. And it's inspiring to see how long that you've stuck with this just for the last couple hours, because it tells me that you have what it takes. You're made up. You've got it in your DNA. Like you're the type of person that persists, that sticks with things, and that busts through barriers. And that's inspiring to me because I can't wait the next time that we all get together. I know what's going to happen. A few of you are going to have freaking funnels done. And you're going to be show and tell and stuff on the next webinar. And I want you to be that person. So I'm super pumped. I'm super happy for you. I'm super excited. Madden, I don't know if you're still here. I don't know who's able to show the screen. But
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Wow. Yay. I'm back.
Let's reveal the results of the feedback survey, a few things that we wanted to share, and then we'll leave people with the link to book a one-on-one call with Jeremy.
All right, so let me know if you can see my screen, Ryan.
I can see it.
Awesome. All right, cool. So we definitely wanted to show you guys just a little bit of the stats that we pulled from you actually doing the survey earlier today. Right. So once again, thanks for doing that. A couple quick things for you to just see and know. I know that Richard actually brought up that he sometimes uses some light HTML when he makes these questions. That's what you're seeing here, right? That's what some of these odd looking characters actually are. But if we take a look at this question, it was question number 3. If you had to choose what type of case study you'd like to receive from us, that would be the most helpful. We're looking at your results here, and about 31, almost 32% of your people said that you're looking for more of a coaching, consulting business case study. So we're going to take that in mind. Digital information was actually really strong as well at 24.8%. So we're definitely going to take that into consideration as we're building out our case studies that we're going to provide for you guys. What's also really interesting for us to see, just kind of from the get-go, that we have that the vast majority of the people that are in this have been B2C users. We got primarily people that are business to consumer type offerings, but we still have a very strong contingent of business to business offerings as well. One of the things that we did not talk about today, but it's actually a feature within Bucket, is it actually talks about the percent of your responses that are hyper responders versus overall responders. Now, Ryan, if you have a second, we can talk real briefly about this. I know we're right about at time. Did you want to go over that real quick?
Yes, I'm happy to go through that right now. I'm just typing a response to someone in the chat real quick.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So, so anyone who's in my world is familiar with this concept of hyper responsiveness, and this is really important if you never heard of the ask method or anything that I do. But it's a great it's a powerful concept to be mindful of, and that's this. When you're looking at who you should pay attention to in your market, you want to focus on the Pareto principle, the top 20%. The top 20% of people in your market who are the most passionate, who give you the longest responses when you ask them for their feedback, that provide you with their contact information, et cetera, et cetera. Now, hyper-responsiveness is defined as the top 20% of your market. And the reason for that is that segment of your audience represents disproportionately buyers and repeat buyers, as well as your hardcore fans and evangelists of your brand and your business. And so you want to pay a disproportionate attention to people who are in that category. The way we measure hyper-responsiveness is who leaves the longest answers when you ask a survey question. All things being equal, orchid example is the one that I always like to use. If you ask an orchid in an orchid survey, what's your single biggest challenge when it comes to orchids? If someone says watering versus if someone says, oh my gosh, Ryan, I've been trying to repot my orchid, and every time I repot it, I kill the dang thing, and I'm trying to do everything right. I wash my hands, I sterilize my tools, and yet every single time I kill my orchid. Ryan, please tell me, what am I doing wrong? Which of those two people is more likely to be a buyer if you were to create a product that solves their need? Chances are it's number two, right? The person who's like, help me. So we want to focus on those people. Now, here's where things get interesting, is when you slice and dice your data, you're going to find that your different segments are going to be more or less likely to be hyper-responsive. So let's go to this next one down here. This is go down, 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 down. Okay, cool. So the expected ratio that you'd expect is at this line, right? Like say, for example, coaching and coaching or digital information products. What this tells me is that, relatively speaking, coaching, if you selected coaching or consulting, on the whole, people here on this call, if you're part of that group, you tend to be more hyper-responsive than people who select e-commerce or physical products. You're a lot further away from that hyper-responsive line. So in other words, this is a way for you to help identify what are the profit pools that exist in your market. What are the segments that represent the greatest concentration of hyper-responsive individuals in your market? What segments should you focus on, and which segments should you ignore? Does that make sense? I mean, I'm trying to condense 10 hours of teaching in 2 minutes of an explanation, but I think that gives like a high enough level of view. The next thing that I think would be really helpful, Ellie, is we scroll down all the way and actually look at the word cloud stuff. Cool, awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. And let's take this down to, so in bucket.io, one of the cool things that you can do in your Discover survey, so going back full circle at the beginning of this call, people asked, what's the difference between a Discover survey and a segmentation funnel? Well, segmentation funnel, you can do all those cool things that we showed you, branching logic, outcome mapping, building those funnels that you saw in Lucid Chart, right? Going in all the different directions, doing all that cool stuff, quizzes, assess all that stuff. Discovery surveys are designed to get that deep market research, to understand your market at a deep level. And one of the ways in which you can do that is to analyze the language that people use. So what this represents here is a word cloud of the language that you just provided in the survey that you completed. These are the words that come up most frequently. Now, what's cool about this in Bucket is that you can do things like reduce the number of words that you want to show. So for example, on the slider bar, take it down, filter out just down to like the top 100 words or so. It doesn't have to be perfect, but somewhere in that zone. A little bit less than that, so it's, yeah.
More than 0.
More than 0. That's good. That's good. Cool. So now we can see the words that are coming up most frequently. Now, what's really interesting is, let's say, for example, oh, I want to ignore the word business because it's standing out too much. Well, on the up top where it says words, you can click on that and then just uncheck the word business, and it'll just be out of there. Now our number 1 word is survey. Survey. So you can software, survey, segmentation. So those are interesting, but some of the ones that are popping up maybe a little less frequently, but also interesting. If we get rid of those big words, let's scroll back up to like maybe 200 or so words. Cool. Good. And some of the ones that came up this morning, let's see if we can find some of the ones that were really interesting. Go make it a little bit bigger. I think we were at like maybe 500 words when we did it this morning. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Cool. Good. All right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This was the number.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we can take a look. So here are things that are interesting. So like I see the word templates above segmentation. So that's clearly something. Pages. So we'll take a look at that. What are we actually talking to when we talk about pages? I'm looking to see if there's any specific software, because that's one of the things that we came up that we noticed this morning.
Yeah, we see Zapier here listed a few times.
Yeah, so Zapier is one. Let's yeah, make it a little bit bigger, a little bit more words. Cool. And then uncheck like the first on the words. Uncheck like the first like 20 biggest ones, because we know those are obvious. Survey, sure, yeah, marketing, more. Get rid of that dash. I know that was bothering someone in the questions. It was bothering me too. That's okay. Cool. All right, awesome, good. So now we got rid of the biggest words that were coming up most frequently, and now we can see some of the things that are popping up a little bit more. So email, right? So definitely there's a theme that's emerging around email. So questions probably around how to use, how to connect your email service provider, best practices for email on this. Looking at surveys. Funnel, of course, is a question. We talked about segment. Interestingly, this morning we had a few that came up, like Infusionsoft was one that came up. Active Campaign came up. Drip came up. So it's just interesting to kind of see some of the integrations that were bubbling up to the surface. Now, what you do from here is, and I don't want to do this online, is if you don't do it, because I don't want to reveal our private contact information, but if you were to click on responses at the top, that'll take you to the actual open-ended responses when people fill it in, and then you can investigate just with a simple control find what these words mean. So say we wanted to investigate like email as a theme, like what are people talking about when they refer to email? Well, then you go to your responses, look at the word email, and see what are people talking about, and you'll identify themes that are emerging.
And Ryan, one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I'd love for you to just very briefly talk about here right now is that you really need to do the analysis around this. Like you actually said something that piqued my interest earlier when you actually, I remember seeing the word yet earlier thinking, right, okay, that's just garbage. We should probably not even look at that. I couldn't have been more wrong, right?
Yep, totally. You know, so yet, so if you typed in the word yet, what's the context around this? I haven't done X yet. What is X, right? That's probably the language pattern that we'd expect to see. So I haven't yet, blah, 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 blah. What is that, you know, what is that referring to? So this just gives you kind of a sneak peek as you do your first discovery survey, some of the analysis that you can begin to do to learn more about your market, uncover the language patterns that they're using, discover the buckets that naturally occur in your market, and build your first segmentation funnel, quiz, or assessment. So Elliot, my man, I'm going to turn it over to you to do our final step, which is our link that people have been waiting for everyone who took the time to actually fill out the survey, which is to book a one-on-one call with Jeremy. First come, first serve, based on spots available. Go, 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 go. Where is the link, my friend?
It is actually just posted in there. It's in there. It is in the chat section of Zoom right now, everybody. So I just posted it. Once again, as Ryan alluded to, these are first come spots. So get in there, submit, submit, submit. Spots will go quickly. I will post it one more time.
All links are posted inside the Zoom webinar chat. So wherever you're saying, where is it? Let's see. It's showing up to me. Maybe it's just being.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
that's
I think it's being finicky, Ryan, because I could not hear you, and I don't think you could just hear me.
I'm gonna post it. It goes to, let's see, all panelists and attendees. Boom. There it is. Boom. It was going to all panelists. We're being really secret.
Wow.
We're keeping Jeremy to ourselves. We just want more Jeremy in our lives. There it is. Awesome. Awesome.
That's really funny. Yeah, and once again, all the speakers have got lots of time with Jeremy now.
Awesome. So there we go, guys. I'll turn it over to Madden one last time to wrap it up. But from where I sit, if you're one of my students, if you're here, you can see my enthusiasm for this technology, and hopefully you've gotten a glimpse into some of the cool things that you can do with it, and how it's transforming businesses. You've heard Will Hamilton's story, how he generates $63,000 a month in the tennis niche. If you were part of that webinar, using this tool in his business. You heard about how Michael Hyatt built an assessment generating over 12,000 leads, over $200,000 in revenue, in just over a week using this technology. You heard about Charlie Wallace generating 12,000 leads in the guitar niche, basically a tiny little business just himself. You heard Richard's story in the dog business. What was it? 173,000 people have gone through his dog training assessment quiz. You've heard about the billion-dollar company Proactive and their skincare quiz. You've heard about Swift Capital being acquired by PayPal on the back of this a funnel. A find out if you qualify funnel. I've done this in my business. You've heard my story about the orchid business, which I took from nothing to $25,000 a month in just a year and a half, and then $500,000 a year, teaching people how to grow their orchids. And it's the commonality, the common thread, the thing that ties all of these examples together. If you take away nothing else, it's this one thing. It's a segmentation funnel. That's it. The number one way to build your list, to generate leads online, and to do it not just from warm traffic, but do it on cold traffic as well. So I'm a huge believer in this. I'm a huge proponent of the technology. I'm going to turn it over to Madden to wrap things up, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here today. Thank you for letting me share a few hours with you, and I look forward to hearing about and reading about and seeing your success. And again, this is just the beginning. I know the folks at Bucket are going to pour over your responses, and they got some more training coming up, more examples coming up, more templates coming up, more features coming up, more integrations coming up, and it all is coming from you as a valued customer. So Madden, why don't you bring us home, and let's wrap for the day.
Excellent. So I just want to take a second to say thank you to Ryan for spending Hello? Awesome. I just want to take a second to say thank you to Ryan and to Richard and to Jeremy and Hines and Max and all of our special guests today. They all took time specifically out of their day to be able to be here. Today was awesome. We got all of your feedback. We're definitely going to take it. We're going to look at it. We're going to review it. We're going to spend some time in it tonight, tomorrow, and we'll be back in touch with you guys ASAP. Once again, thank you so much for your time. If you haven't yet, I will invite you to provide that feedback one last time. And once again, thank you all. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this helpful. Good luck, good night, and we look forward to supporting you from the bucket.io community.
And if you schedule that one-on-one, I'll talk to you and see you soon.